G'day everyone, how are we? Welcome, Saturday night, the 13th of January 2024. Couple of special guests on tonight. Dave Hunter, guys, from Saxon Overland. Dave, welcome.
G'day.
Good to have you on, mate. And everyone knows the bloke down the bottom, Rob the Wanderer. Where's your Recubra, mate? It's blowing off.
Howdy, folk. Oh, hang on a sec. Righto, there we go.
I thought he looked different. I was thinking there's something missing off him. It's your Recubra, mate.
Tim Bates' bloody long-lost son.
Yeah, Timmy Bates. That thing's glued to his head, I reckon. So, Anyway, thanks for coming on, fellas. It's going to be a good night tonight. We're going to talk about lots of different stuff, but mainly camping. That's the theme of the night. That's what everyone loves talking about, camping and some of our favourite camp spots and places to go in Australia. But we'll do a few shout-outs before we get in, and we'll get you to introduce yourself, fellas, and bloody tell everyone in the chat room a bit about yourselves and all that. And what do we got? 62 on, so we'll do some shout-outs. Wait for the crowd to build up. The bloody Victorians are probably getting ready for bed already. It's 6:30 here in Queensland, 7:30 down in Sydney, Dave?
Yep.
7:30 down there. So Newey Joe's on, Timmy Ryan. G'day, mate. How are you? Saxon Overland's on.
Yeah.
He's on.
Well, that's a relief.
He's in the chat room and he's on the screen too. Listen, don't worry, everyone. We know Dave's bloody camera keeps freezing up. He's either got a bloody potato glued to the top of his computer or he hasn't paid his internet bill. One of the two. He keeps freezing up, but your voice comes through all right, mate. So if you're talking, don't worry. If it freezes up, your voice is still coming through fine. So that's the main thing.
We're still in dial-up on this part of Sydney, so
still bloody cockroaches running the internet down there. That's what it is. Cockroaches going flat out.
Not only have you got a shit football team, you got shit internet too, mate. I'll tell you.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Speaking of, there's a lot of cockroaches on. Speaking of cockroaches, Roachy's on. Dean Roach, how are you, mate? Ty Fenwick down there in the Tea Gardens. Down there in Nelson.
Tea Gardens,
Nelson,
how good?
Yeah,
how good is Tea Gardens? That is magic down there.
Hey, remind me later, Rob. I've got every one tonight. I've tried to go high tech tonight, and I'm going to try and put Google Maps up on the screen, and we might zoom in on the Tea Gardens tonight, Rob, and have a look around there, around Nelson Bay. What a great part of the world. You go there at all, Dave? You've been up around or gone? What is it? It's up for you, isn't it? Newcastle.
Yeah. I used to live in Newcastle when I first moved to Australia, so I would get around that way, and not too far from Ty's place, and I know he's down in Newcastle a lot as well. So I lived in Maitland, so kind of halfway.
Yeah, which is where Brad and Mary Howe are from, mate. Maitland.
Yeah.
That Tea Gardens there. I did a lot of early camping last couple of years in the Tea Gardens, mate, and just one of my favourite spots. Lots of mozzies at night sometimes, but fantastic.
Yeah, that whole Newcastle area, mate, it's just really nice. Like even the Hunter Valley, some of the vineyards and the wineries and that out in the Hunter Valley are stunning, mate. Like it's around the Cessnock. You go out from Maitland or out towards Singleton, Landy Smurf territory and that. It's a good part of the world, that Hunter Valley, around Cessnock and all that. Bloody beautiful. And Newcastle is really nice. So
for those of us in Brisbane, we can still get there relatively easily, bit harder for you, Buck, up there, but everyone in Brizzy and southeast Queensland, it's not too far to go.
It's not, mate, and it's, you know what, it's a really nice punch down that Pacific Highway as opposed to the Bruce Goat track up here in bloody Queensland. Yeah, that's what that Bruce Highway should be from Brisbane to Cairns. Two lanes that way and 2 lanes that way. And then all your well-signed, as soon as I hit Northern New South Wales on that Pacific Highway, I thought this is how the Bruce Highway should be. The cockroaches got it right. One thing they have got better than us is better bloody main highway there. It shits all over the Bruce Highway.
As soon as you cross that border, now that I've done a drive to Tassie, the drive from the border to Hobart is beautiful. The rest of it, north of the border, mate, we're hopeless.
It's garbage, mate. Wait till you drive up the Cairns this year. You'll know
that'll be late this year. I'll be in a truck too, so that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, good luck with that one. Lukey Reed, speaking of diddly donks, Lukey Reed's on, guys. Oh, that was Jack Turtle's on too. G'day, Jack. Jordan Glennon's on.
G'day, Jack.
On this Lukey, it moved. Just as you're about to click it, it moves. Lukey Reed's on. Where are you, Lukey? Lukey was bloody mixing it up with the bouncers at the Summer Nats the other day in Canberra. Lukey was giving it to the bouncers. I don't know where he is now. I'm sure I saw Lukey throwing uppercuts.
There were some good left hooks in there from Lukey. I saw on Channel 7 News. It was good.
He was wearing a Mr. Buckaroony shirt. That's why he stood out like dog's ball. Rod said, who's the bloke in the Mr. Buckaroony shirt throwing uppercuts at the bouncers? It was Lukey Reed. Terry G's on, handcrafted by Terry G. G'day, Terry. How are you, mate?
Yeah, howdy, Terry.
Trev Kelly up there or down there for me, down there in Rockhampton.
Trev. Nice to see you, mate.
They're expecting double lanes to Yeppoon. Not right to Yeppoon, though. Is that from Rocky to Yeppoon, which is like a 20-minute drive or whatever? Yeah, it should be, on the way out to Yeppoon there, Trev. And that's a place I was really taken with and hadn't been to. I really like Yeppoon and Emu Park, which is out on the coast from Rockhampton. Very, very nice.
Compared to Rockhampton, Yeppoon's great compared to Rockhampton.
Rocky's come a long way too, mate. Rocky used to be a shithole. When you drive through Rocky now, it's not a bad-looking town. They've done a fair bit for Rocky, the botanical gardens and all that there. I remember the early days in the 80s and that used to go to Rocky on exercise with the army. You used to think, God, who'd live here? But Rocky's it's come a long way. It's quite a big town now too. It really is.
I'll be stopping in there on the way to Cairns, mate. So I'll have a look around.
I'm Daryl Simmons. G'day, Buck. What's a cracker-lackin'?
What's cracker-lackin'?
Daryl Simmons, there's a new one. I haven't noticed your name on there before, mate. Welcome. Nothing's cracker-lackin' much. What are we drinking? I'm on the Red Wobbler. Dave, you're on dry January, aren't you?
No, I'm finished for today. You broke me, so I'm actually triple parked with a Sapporo, a hard thingy. What's it called? And a red wine for backup. So yeah, I'm in for the long haul.
Yeah, hats off, mate. That's a good effort.
They always think you bombs were alcos. I'll tell you what. You've got a bloody reserve for every. This could go a long time, guys. Everyone's stocked up on the beers. People will know how long. If we'll Buck and Rob the Wanderer together. This could go. Right. Anything could happen, guys. The Vicks will be
the longest goodbye.
Soon. They'll be going, get off. They'll be doing a Mr. P, throwing shit at their computers, going, get off at midnight. Jamie Fulton's on. G'day, Jamie.
Oh, he's on the Carlton Dries, old Jamie Fulton. Very good.
Daz from Team Getting Together. Cheers, boys. G'day, Daz. How are you, mate? Welcome on. Thanks for coming on the live feed tonight. Tell you what, there's a few bloody new names. Dave, you bought some new names on the thing, or Rob the Wanderer, you?
Yeah, I've got a big following.
Yeah, you must have, mate. Now, Ross Halliwell, this is a place, it moved just as I'm about to do it. That's a place we were talking about the other night. One of the beautiful places on the New South Wales coast, Bateman's Bay. Dave, you been there?
Yeah, beautiful. Absolutely lovely up there.
Yeah, it is. So that's south. Once you get south of Sydney, it's stunning. You know what I like about it? It gets less busy as you get further south. That's what I like about it. Steve from Saw, all the legends are on tonight. Steve from Saw Adventures. I haven't seen Rob Richmond on yet. Australian camping and four-wheel drives. Don't know if Snork's on. Here he is. Mike Blakely's on, guys, from Colorado in the USA. Mike's on. So we got Steve W.
Nice,
Steve W's on from the motherland. Not sure about Andy Riches. They're coming on to make you feel like you're at home, Dave. A couple of poms are on. Mike Blakely's on from Colorado. It's probably 2 a.m. in Colorado, 2:30 or something in the morning. Thanks for getting up again, Mike. We really appreciate it, mate.
That's a good effort, Mike, yeah.
And Terry, you'll be pleased to know, Mike's Rafa board arrived safely in Colorado. It got through. I was worried that Big Beam wouldn't that, it mightn't get through to him. But it got through customs, and it got there in pretty good time in a couple of weeks. I think if Mike tried to send me something wood, I very much doubted it'd get to me because of our quarantine laws here. Very, very strict quarantine laws for a good reason too, because we got such unique animals and, you know, we got bloody plants and trees and animals down here the rest of the world doesn't have. And our quarantine is very strict.
Yeah, that quarantine, a good example of that is I went to Anzac Cove in Gallipoli and Lone Pine. And the Lone Pine there, and they let you take the pine cones, right? And so, beauty, all right, I'll take this home and pop it on the mantelpiece. What a magic piece of history there, and to be, be in that moment. Got to customs, and they ripped the pine cone off me, but they let me keep the little dead seeds of it. It's still up on the bench. I'll go get it in a sec. But yeah, straight from Gallipoli, mate. One of the most treasured things I've got. And everything I own is just the stuff from Lone Pine there. Just amazing. But yeah, quarantine, they rip everything off you. So it's. I mean, I get it, but it still sucks.
Yeah, I know. There was on our trip there. I went to a few places, memorials and that, and there were some pine trees there, and there was a plaque saying this is basically an offspring of the lone pine at Gallipoli. And the reason they call it the lone pine is they cut all the pine trees down to use for reinforcements in their trenches and that. And apparently there was just one pine tree left during the Gallipoli campaign. And there are some trees that are seedlings from a pine cone from that exact bloody lone pine in Gallipoli. So when you see that pine tree at the memorial, it hits home. And Rob's got some seeds from it. So there you go.
Yeah. So these are it. I got 3. It's hard to see. I'll put it up to the camera. But here's one anyway. And straight from Gallipoli and Lone Pine. And but they took the pine cone off me as such. So one of the things I really, really treasure is those three little offshoots of the pine there. So
there's no way they could be brought back to life, those seeds at all, mate. I don't know much about that shit.
They're like the dead shell of the seed or something. Yeah. The quarantine lady explained it, but yeah, there's no way that can grow into anything. So,
but there are pine trees. Keep your eyes out, guys. If you go to some of the memorials, I forget where they were now. I'll think of it later. And they go, this is a descendant of the actual lone pine tree at Gallipoli. If
anyone ever gets a chance to go there, just do it. Never second guess the opportunity to go over there. It's just incredible. Yeah. Absolutely incredible.
My daughter sent me. She did my daughter Lauren, when she went to Gallipoli, when she went to Turkey, she did a tour there, and it was a tour by the Turks, and they were telling the story from the Turkish side, not the Australian side. And she said she was bawling in tears. The Turks lost a lot of people. We lost like 10,000 in Gallipoli. The Turks lost way more than that. They lost a lot of souls.
There's a good chance I did the same tour because I did the Turk version too. Yeah. Because I couldn't get on the Aussie one because it was booked out. So, you get the Turkish version, I suppose, of it. And, unreal. Absolutely unreal.
Yeah.
Because growing up, I'd never heard that side of the story. You know, like we always hear the Aussie side and all the rest of it. But, hearing that side was just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. Here we go. Steve Webb's. I saw one of the Lone Pine descendants of the original Lone Pine at Cootamundra. There you go. There's a few of them around, Steve. There's a lot of the memorials around, and it says this is what I'm tipping, Rob, is they probably bought a couple of pine cones back, and back then, in those days, it probably wasn't so much quarantine and all that, and gave them to an RSL or whatever, and that's how it's gone. So
it must have been offshoots or whatever,
Hardest day off.
When's the next cook-up?
It is going to be as soon as it stops raining up here. We've got a big monsoon coming through up here, guys, and then they reckon there could be another cyclone after that. But when I can, I want to get the .261 out in the backyard, and I'm going to use the kitchen on it, and I'm going to cook up because a lady the other day I talked about Ros was cooking vermicelli chicken, and I had the cook up on my old channel. But that's going to be the next cook-up, vermicelli chicken and rice. And I'm going to cook it up in the camper trailer, mate. So Yeah, that'll be my next one. So whoever asked Roz for the recipe to vermicelli chicken, you'll see it on my next cook up. So
I'll tell you what I'll do. I was gonna say, Buck. I'll tell you what I'll do. When you put that one out, I'll do a follow up, and Rob the Wanderer will give it a crack. Poison half the town, but I'll give it a go.
Steve W. He's got it all ballsed up there. He's got two things. There's coconut curry chicken, Steve, and there's Thai green or red chicken curry. So Steve wants me to do a mixture of coconut curry and Thai chicken all in one. I don't know how that'd taste, mate. You've got two mixed up there, but yeah. I've done the coconut curry chicken, but Gidgey's going to do his bloody world famous green Thai curry chicken at the Legends event.
Yeah,
and that one always goes well, and it's pretty well cooked the way they do it in the restaurants because Gidgey's wife Nongi is Thai, and she worked for 20 years at the Joy Thai restaurant in Townsville as a chef there, and can learn how to cook Thai off Nongi, and she does it the authentic way. So yeah, really good. So
can't wait for that.
There we go. Andy is on. We were just talking about Andy before. Andy Riches. Oh, he wants me to do. There's another one, Andy. I remember it was Andy. You said, Buck, you got to do your mum's bread and butter pudding again and porcupine meatballs. Andy, that is coming
What's
up.
That, mate?
Porcupine
What's that
meatballs.
one? I don't know. I know that one. Yeah.
It's basically a rissole, a meat rissole. And what you do, you just make a ball out of just mince, mate. You can put a bit of onion in it if you want, or you can just get raw mince, turn it into a ball, roll it in rice, raw rice, not cooked rice, raw rice, and it makes it look like a porcupine because it's got all spikes on it. And then you do up a nice sauce made out of passata, diced tomatoes. You can put some olives in there, some mushrooms, like an Italian-y sort of sauce. And then you just simmer that slowly. Put the meatballs in, and the sauce cooks the rice, which is attached to the meatballs. And when you pull it out, the meatballs are cooked, the rice is cooked, and you've got porcupine meatballs with like an Italian type, and you can have it with pasta or whatever. It's bloody beautiful. So yeah, Andy,
sign me up.
Meatballs, and I'm going to speak to Mum tonight or tomorrow and get her recipe again for bread and butter pudding, because there's a trick. You've got to cook that in a tray of water or the egg and milk stuff curdle. So I remember Andy asking me a while ago for porcupine meatballs. I remembered the bread and butter pudding, mate. I forgot about the porcupine. So that'll be it. Vermicelli chicken, porcupine meatballs, and we'll do bread and butter pudding. Tell you what else I'm going to do. I'm going to redo my golden syrup dumplings, because they are bloody beautiful. I don't know if you remember that one. That's a golden syrup dumplings. And I'm going to do subby scones. Subby is Torres Strait for coconut. So I'm going to make scones, coconut scones, but they're not going to be done in an oven. They're going to be fried scones, subby scones. And they're bloody beautiful with butter and golden syrup, or butter and strawberry jam. So got a lot of good cooking coming. Yeah,
that'll do me.
Hungry again. Anyway, guys, enough shout outs and saying good day to everyone. What I'll do a bit later, guys, is give you a chance to ask the boys some questions about camping and all that type of stuff. Dave, we might start off with you, mate.
Sure.
Tell us a bit about yourself, as much or as least as you want. Where you're born, where you were brought up. Obviously in the UK, we all know that from your accent, mate. How'd you end up in Australia and all that type of stuff. And later on, guys, we've got some a slideshow of we won't talk about your camp setup yet, but you've got a real unique camp setup, mate, and a unique vehicle, and we'll go through and talk about it when we do the slideshow. But in the meantime, tell us a bit about yourself, Dave.
Yeah, so I guess I'm heading towards 50 now. I think I'm 47 in a few weeks' time, so getting up there. But born over in Southampton on the south coast in the UK. Kind of dragged up really, rather than brought up. It was a tough time, but under the Maggie Thatcher years of government. So my parents are one of those couples that bought their house, and then taxes went through the roof, and life was quite difficult because they kind of like ripped the rug out, to be honest, for working people, and they really struggled. So you could afford these things like buying your own house, and then all of a sudden the taxes come in, and we lived a very simple life, to be honest, just to keep a roof over our heads. And that my old man was a tugboat skipper, so and most of our family on my dad's side have always been working at sea in some way. So that was a profession that I went into, joined the RFA when I was 17, the Royal Fleet Auxiliary.
Yeah.
Support vessels for the Royal Navy and stuff like that. So did that for 4 years, and then come out and went into commercial marine work. So working on pilot launches and things like that, taking pilots out to ships to bring them into the harbour.
Oh wow!
So and that was one side of it, and also obviously when it's too rough to bring ships into port, sometimes they can be out the back of the Isle of Wight for 30-40 miles off the coast for days on end, and they might have some kind of medical emergency for a crew member. So I was on the crew of one of these, basically like a lifeboat vessel, really, called a Nelson 40, almost unsinkable vessel that would go out and force 8-9 weather, take doctors out to the back of the Isle of Wight and take them out to ships, and because you couldn't even get helicopters out to the ships, right? So it was too rough for that. So that was an exciting sort of life. From that, I moved into working for Bacardi Martini and went into warehousing and things like that. And just sort of working as a storesman, really. Worked my way up, got a job with Pfizer in their inventory and planning division, and stayed with Pfizer for about 10 years in the UK. Worked my way up in their supply chain division, and then took jobs in operations. And then that was really when I got the chance to start traveling for work. So I spent a lot of time in Dublin, and then moved to New York and worked there for a period of time. And then the opportunity came up in 2012 to move to Singapore permanently. So so I took that opportunity and moved there, and spent about 6 years there all up. And that was where I met my wife, Andrew.
Yeah.
She was already there. She's from the Philippines. She was working there as an architect, and just typical story of walking into a pub one day with a bit of music on, and met a girl like that. And a year or so later, we got married in Singapore.
Yeah.
And our families come over from friends, and a few years later, we got married again in the Philippines, which is a more traditional wedding with about 300 guests. So that was pretty wild.
Yeah.
And then in 2016, had the opportunity to take a redundancy. So I'd been with Pfizer by then for sort of 10 or 12 years. Redundancy was a good shout, so decided to take the money. And before I knew it, I was offered a job with a company in Rutherford near Newcastle, and so I took it, and really without thinking too much about it, I moved from Singapore to Maitland, which is just about the biggest cultural shock you could ever take in your lifetime.
There's some diddly donks that live in Maitland, mate, let me tell you, and there's one there now. Brad Howell, he's from Maitland. He's talking about, he reckons there was another ship that departed Southampton that was supposedly unsinkable. I think its name was the Titanic.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I actually had like a member of the family that worked on there, believe it or not. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he worked in the engine room, so he was one of the first around.
Oh, geez. Bloody hell.
Yeah. So and been in Australia since 2016. So really never done any kind of camping before. there's no such thing as camping in Singapore. That's called sleeping rough if you're in Singapore.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not possible. And then, so yeah, just obviously when you move here, right, and you just get to see the great skies and beaches like Stockton and all of that up that way. Yeah, it's just an opportunity to get into something new. So I did that thing that most people do and went out and bought everything from King's in one weekend.
Yeah, as you do.
And then started replacing it from the following weekend with quality gear. So.
We'll talk about King's later, and we'll talk about basic camping and getting into camping, and King's will probably rate a mention there as well. Singapore, Dave, nice place to live, mate.
Yeah, absolutely loved it. I mean, definitely I'd say the best years of my life. Obviously, if anyone knows how it kind of works there, you get big wages when you work there and the tax is very low, sort of 6 or 7%. So it's the time of your life where you make a lot of money and you get a lot of opportunities from that to do traveling around Southeast Asia. So yeah, it's the kind of place where you can be in the pub on a Thursday and sort of you're chatting with the lads in the pub and say, do you fancy going to Thailand tomorrow? And just jump on a plane and go. You're 2 hours later, you're there. It was an awesome time and I really loved it. But the one thing about living in Singapore is you never feel like you're going to be part of Singapore. You're not a Singaporean. You're always going to be an expat. And that comes with like a limited time span. So, you're leaving at some point. So it's just about picking when you're going to go. But it's an awesome place to live and absolutely loved it.
Yeah. And you're in Sydney now, mate, eh?
Yeah. So, like I say, my first job here was working for an animal health company, actually, called Durox up in Rutherford. They make animal health products for farms across Australia and New Zealand. And then, the opportunity come up to get back into animal health. But unfortunately, that meant taking a job in the CBD in Sydney. So we had to move down to the city. And how it takes. We had a kid and, so you have to start thinking about earning some more money. So unfortunately, we had to buy the dollars. But yeah, we loved it up that way. But Sydney's a great place to live, no doubt about it. But I'm for sure. I learned to appreciate the countryside living in Newcastle.
Yeah, no, it's not the Newcastle. Yeah, I know Newcastle's a top spot. Sydney is a beautiful city, mate, but there's a lot of people living there. What's Andy doing with herself, mate? She obviously moved down from Singapore with you. She was happy to do that.
Yeah. So I mean, when we moved down, she started working for Port Stephens Council. She's an architect, so she was designing fire stations and things like that.
Wow.
Brad, I do know Kim. Yeah, I know her well.
Oh wow, small world.
Yeah, so she was doing that up until she had Saxon, our little one. He's 4 now, so he was born in 2019 in November, just before the dreaded COVID happened.
Yeah.
So then Andy took that period of time off after that and didn't work for a couple of years, and now she's had a bit of a career change and she works in childcare now. So indie school. Yeah, she really enjoys it.
Yeah. Oh, good. Well, we'll get to see Andy and Saxon soon on the slideshow, mate. We've got a picture of Andy, your wife, and what was her first? Not Andrea. What is it?
Andrea is her name, but Andy.
Andrea, is it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, who else we got in here? Tents were Bill the Maniac. Tents were a tiny $20 A-frame tents that never kept you dry and blow apart in the slightest winds. They certainly blow apart when you let one rip, Phil the Maniac. Those tents were no match for Phil, let me tell you. Are you enjoying? You're an Aussie. You're a bloody Aussie yet, mate?
Yeah. We become citizens last February. So just coming up 11 months.
Nice.
So obviously with having Saxon born here, he's born in Australian, so I get to be a dual citizen because I'm from the UK. But Andy had to give up her Filipino passport, so she's just an Aussie now. So can't be a dual citizen. Yeah, I don't know the rules. But yeah, she had to hand it back. So she's all Aussie.
Oh, good on her, mate. God knows why you have to do that. Rob the Wanderer, that seems like a familiar sound that I can hear in the background. What are you doing?
I'm trying to be subtle. I'm trying not to make any attention to myself.
It didn't work. What are you making? What are you making?
Drinks run out. So we've had the hot tip from the lovely host here today, who's hosting this show tonight. The hard solo, folks. We all know that we're on it. And the hard solo, apparently with some ice. Make sure you do it in a cup with your name on it. That's the hottest tip of all. And and a bit of lime. So get some lime wedges, and we're going to give this a go. I haven't tried this yet. Sorry, I did not want to interrupt. I feel really rude there. But so we're going to give it a go.
No worries, yeah. So
is that one of your new merch things that you're tipping it into?
No. This is one of those things you get at the $2 shop with your name on it. It tells you. So apparently, I'm Australia's premium drinker going off.
I thought you must have had some Wanderer beer mugs or something coming out.
So the thing from Ozpost arrived in the mail on Friday. As we all know, I was out at Alla and everything, running around town out there for the Legends event. So hopefully Monday, folks, there'll be an update. But anyway, I don't want to interrupt.
Yeah, no,
carry on.
Leave that for your channel, mate.
I was just saying, becoming a citizen was kind of a unusual thing, really, because to be honest, I'm a really proud Pommy.
Yeah.
I'm very proud to come from England, proud of the country. You know, quite patriotic, to be honest. And but I would definitely say in the 6 years that I've lived here, or 6 or so years now, 8 years nearly, I really feel part of this country, and I took that decision to become a citizen quite seriously. And you know, I guess I'm old-fashioned like that. I feel that you should, you know, I would live and die for Queen in country, or King in country as it is now in England. And yeah, I feel that way about Australia. So it's
good on you, mate.
I really, really appreciate the opportunity to become an Australian.
Yeah, good stuff, mate. And bloody, it's always good to have the Poms down here from the mother country. And I think Poms and Kiwis and Aussies, we share something very similar, don't we? We got the same sense of humour. We just seem to be the same people. We really do. I've got a lot of good Pommy mates, and never met one that's, well, they're dickheads, but they're good dickheads, if you know. They're like diddly donks, but they're bloody good lads, and they just we love the same things. And I guess that's what Australia. I mean, we're all got English, us white fellas. Most of us got Pommy heritage in us. I know my grandmother from mum's side was born in Greenwich. She was from Greenwich, so one of my grandmum was the Pom. She came out here. She was one of the two Bob Poms. Come out here when she was 10 years old as a kid, and you know, when they were trying to get Pommies out here because we didn't have the workforce here, and you know, back in the day. And she went on, and bloody, it's good, mate. It's good to have you down here. And I know a lot of the Poms come down here, always welcome, and there's a lot of banter and that between us. But I'm glad you said that, mate. I'm glad you said that you feel part of the country, and that you haven't been ostracised because you're a bloody Pom and all that. You know, there's a bit of banter goes on, but hopefully it just stays as banter, and you do feel welcome here. That was good to hear, mate.
Yeah, I think part of it comes from paying about 300 or 400 grand in taxes already. So I definitely feel that, you know. But also, I've got Phil. I'll tell you what, if I make it up to the Legends event, we should have probably like a little cricket match one afternoon to settle the score. Then see how we go.
We'll use an esky or something. Thanks for giving us a bit of an insight into. But you've done some stuff. That's what I always say. Sit down and talk with people. Everyone's got a story, and there's another great story. You've been to some places, mate. You've done some fantastic things. Done some great jobs. One question I do have for you: when you work for Pfizer, were the blue diamonds on the house?
I've certainly done my fair share of testing. Let's leave it at that. And I can they get the gold seal of approval from me. That's for
sure.
There
you go, mate. So double thumbs up for the Blue Diamonds from Pfizer. That's good to know. Rob the Wanderer, tell us, before you tell us your story, mate, and we get in and talk about camping, how's that drink? How's that hard
mate, she's not bad. I tell you what, I think it needs a double lime, only because it's such a big glass, so it's a double lime. We'll shove that in.
Give it a good stir up.
That's it, Ed. The keyboard has survived at the moment. There's a few spits on it from the solo, but she's not completely a disaster like it was last time. I saw Ed's comment earlier. Worried about the keyboard. We'll give him a stir.
Beer on that one night, didn't you?
It went flying, mate. Yeah. She's a good drop. The hard solo, lime and ice. Get on it.
Yeah, no, it's good. Anyway, mate, tell us a bit about yourself, Rob. We all know that you're part of the Legends, mate, and that you're doing a fantastic job organising the Legends camp in August this year, not next year, this year now.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of people don't know a lot about you, mate. So this is your chance to bloody let a few secrets out of the bag if you want.
Mate. Yeah. I got nothing to hide, mate. The pressure you just put me under there, mate. Oh, holy dooly. No.
Now, one of the questions I get all the time, he hasn't got a girlfriend. Is he gay? Do you want to address that one?
Not gay.
Not gay?
Not gay. We'll put that top of the list. Not gay.
Been with a few blokes who are, but
not gay, but $20 is $20, right, Rob?
That's right. You got it, Dave. $20 is $20, mate.
$20. Anyway, back on to the serious. Tell us a bit about yourself, mate.
That's it. In this economic society, Dave, you're spot on, mate. I got your $20 too. I appreciate that. Thanks, Dave. Oh dear. Howdy, folks. How you going? If you don't know who I am, you're thinking, who's this Drongo? Rob's my name, and Rob the Wanderer is what's been adopted lately, which is pretty good. I don't mind that. 40 years old, big 40, and born in Blacktown, New South Wales, believe it or not. There's a little...
How do I get you off this bloody thing here? Remove a filthy cockroach in hiding.
You got it, mate. Blacktown, New South Wales. Grew up in Wetherill Park, so we're talking what is now and what used to be probably a pretty rough part of town out there in Western Sydney there. Moved here when I was 4, so there's a bit of, consolation there, Buck. We came up when I was 4, mate, so it's not too bad. Here's something you're not going to like, folks. I was a Blues supporter right up until Gallon, and I don't mind saying this, Gallon the dog just absolutely got up and just left hooked old buddy. Was it Nate Miles? I can't remember who it was now.
Yeah.
And I'm all for a punch up in the footy, right? I'm all for it. But then when he just got up, it was almost like a king hit, let's be honest. He just got up and just whack. And I'm not down for that. So I don't mind a bit of rough and tough in the footy. And as soon as that happened, I was out. No longer a Blues supporter. You're all bloody scum. As far as I'm concerned. What an absolute dog move. And I've never supported New South Wales ever again. And I go for the Dolphins in the footy. But aside from all that, that's it, mate. Fins up. Where is it? Hang on, here it is.
Here it goes. The fins out.
Fins up. Fins up. No, guys. Born in Blacktown, moved up here when I was about 4 or 5, and been a Queenslander ever since. Work-wise, folks, if you don't know what I don't do YouTube full-time. I do work. At the moment, I'm a freelance broadcast engineer, essentially, is what it is. So when you go to the Gabba or you go to Suncorp Stadium or the Gold Coast Stadiums or even up at Townsville there, those kind of things, everything you see on the big screen, all the cameras, all the stats, all the stuff, TV and the big screen, basically I look after all of that. So that's my day job, I suppose, if you want to call it that. And it's pretty good. Been doing that now for 5, 6, 7 years. Before that, I used to work in corporate events, and I'd fly around the country looking after corporate events and that kind of thing. It's not really a camping background there, but I used to camp as a kid with the old man. And who's no longer with us, unfortunately. But yeah, he used to take me out to a place called Texas, and it's a place Buck knows very well. And my favourite campground is out there, and at Texas there, and we used to camp in a high ace. Funnily enough, that you were mentioning earlier.
Yes.
Wasn't decked out at all. It was just the high ace, the stock standard, just the grid, the cage between the drivers and the back, and throw a mattress in there, and that was it. Go light a fire by the river, and get up in the morning, have a shower in the river, chuck a little bar of soap, wander into the river, scrub up. There you go. So classic old school camping. I don't think anyone.
Jibber River, it's called out there at Texas, the Jibber River, and it's a beautiful place to camp on the thing there. Yeah. So we'll talk about vans and camping and whatever, because Dave's got a sweet one that we're going to see on the slideshow soon when we keep going into it. When you say you're a freelance, Rob, do you work for yourself or do you work for a company, mate?
Essentially, yeah. So there's 2 or 3 companies predominantly that I work for, but I mean anyone could ring up and say, hey mate, are you free next Saturday? Got a game out at wherever. We need extra hands. Yeah, mate, no worries. So that's essentially what freelance is. So work for yourself, essentially. But I've sort of set myself up so I'm only working for like 2-3 companies. So I don't want to spread myself too thin and then start letting people down and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
and that's the 3 companies bringing in enough work and that for you, mate, obviously.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, sport never stops. We found that out through COVID. I mean, you could have a worldwide pandemic, but somehow sport still continues. You know what I mean? So sport will never die in this country, which is absolutely fantastic. And before that, I actually worked on cruise ships. So when Dave there was talking about pilot ships, I used to work on Royal Caribbean ship through the Caribbean in the Bahamas. And we used to have the pilot ships come out and guide the cruise ships out of the port. But the thing with these ones was, in America, massive 50 cal machine guns on these pilot ships that would come out, and they would be manned with dudes in vests and the whole kit and dice. There'd be 3 or 4 of them just guiding the ship out, full machine guns ready to go. Absolutely phenomenal.
So even their pilot ships have got 50 cals on them.
Yeah, those little tiny ones that just push the boat and guide you where to go. Yeah. Machine gun. I mean, it was America, let's be honest. This was 2008.
Mike, Rob, were you able to explain that for us?
Rob, were you a dancer in the cabaret on the ship? What was the job you were doing?
I was the pole cleaner. Anyway, no, I wasn't. No. I was what they used to call a lounge. Yeah, that's right. I was what they called a lounge technician, and I did my best to just lounge around as much as I could. But no, essentially, a lounge technician looked after all the bands and the acts and the comedians and the guest entertainers and stuff like that on the ship. Make sure all their technical stuff was up to scratch and working. Those 50 cal guns were to make sure you stayed on board. There's a few times I wanted to jump ship. Speaking of staying on board, we were attacked by pirates twice. Modern day pirates on our ship that tried to board while I was working on the cruise ship. And the rule was, if you saw them coming, because they'd just come up in these little boats and they'd had grappling hooks and all the rest of it, just straight out of a movie, and they'd fire the grappling hook up. And if you didn't have anything near that you could cut the grappling hook with or get it off before they put tension on it, the rule was grab the nearest deck chair and start throwing it down the side of the ship to try and knock the bloody pirates off. Absolutely unreal. And twice we got done, and they never got on board. We managed to knock them out, but before they got on board, and they'd speed off. But that was absolutely wild. Just talk about the pilot boats.
What country was that? Of Somalia or something? Was it or?
No, that was through circling the other side of Cuba, so up through the Bermuda Triangle and all through there. Just absolutely wild. So we did the loop. So we went Fort Lauderdale, up around Cuba. You do a big lap of Cuba. And you'd stop in South America at Belize, Cozumel. There was another place too we used to stop at. I can't remember it now. But basically doing laps of Cuba. And this was 2008. So relations were still pretty tense. You couldn't go to Cuba at that point. And it's pretty full on. But yeah, just talking about the pilots just reminded me.
Sounded like you needed some of those 50 cals off the tugboats, mate, to sort them out.
Yeah, that's right. I presume that's why they were there, because just so you didn't get attacked by anything. But yeah, absolutely full on. A couple of trips around the world I've done. Europe twice, America. Once I got off the cruise ship, went all through America and travelled through there, just all solo. So everything I do, as you see on the channel, 90% of it's solo. And it's just sort of how it's been. I don't have any brothers or sisters or anything like that. And yeah, just me. Yeah. So hence why a lot of it's solo camping, solo trips. The Outback trip, obviously, was the very, very first sort of clips that I put together for YouTube. And that was that was in the middle of COVID. So that was a very interesting time with trying to get permits to cross borders into South Australia and all around that Birdsville region and stuff like that. There's an interesting time where I pulled up at the South Australia border, actually, and I left the GoPro footage, the what do you call it, dash cam footage going, and it's in the clip, and absolute desert country, as you guys know out there, nothing for millions and millions of miles, and I was coming from Birdsville down to Inaminka, so we're talking like there's nothing out there, and you can barely make out the road, let alone anything else. Anyway, there's this one bloke in the middle of Rona. They put a temporary fence up where the border is, and they put a gate in, and they'd close the gate every night, so you couldn't cross the border, and obviously with Rona going. And anyway, you'd pull into Windora, I think it was, and you were supposed to see the copper in Windora, and he'd give you a slip of paper to then take to his colleague who would be sitting on the border every day, 12 hours a day, 6 to 6, to let you go through. And you'd have to get different types of permits if you're working or a tourist or whatever. And anyway, I got to Windora. Was it Windora or Quilpie? I can't remember now. Anyway, and it was Father's Day and it was a Sunday. And I'm walking around, talk about a one-street town out there. No one's around. The IGA was closed. The information centre was open, which was nice, but everything else was shut. Couldn't even refuel. The servo was closed by the time I got into town. Had a couple of Jerry's, which made it all right. But anyway, so I couldn't go to the cop shop. I went to it was a bloke's house. Like, it's not a proper cop shop. It was a 2-story Queenslander out there, and knocked on the door, no answer. Anyway, his neighbour comes out and goes, "Oh, you right? What's going on?" I said, "Oh, mate, I just need to get a slip and blah, blah." "Oh, no, he's up at his cousin's house, such and such, whatever, doing a Father's Day thing." And I'm like, "Oh, well, I don't know what to do." So I just risked it and went out there to the border. And sure enough, there's this one bloke, you'll see it in the clip, sitting in there in his troopy, police troopy, and a shitter. It's one of those trailer shitters. That's it. And the gate that opens and swings closed. And I get out there and he's, "Oh, g'day, mate. How you going?" Whatever. Managed to get through. And he said, "Yeah, he just sits there all day." I was the only person that went through. He'd been there from 6. I got there at 2 p.m. and I was the first person he'd seen all day. Absolutely wild. But and you'll love this, Buck. I tell you, had my Bowie knife in the passenger door, like in the side door. I'm talking like it's over there. A knife, like a hunting knife, And he goes, "Oh, what's that?" And I said, "Oh, mate, that's just me knife." Not even thinking, right? But obviously out there, it's a little bit different. And I've just pulled this knife and I've grabbed the sheath and I've pulled the sheath out. He's standing right next to me, this copper. All of a sudden, I'm an armed dude out in the middle of Outback Queensland, Wolf Creek style. And it was at that moment I've realised, oh, hang on. What am I doing here? I just put the thing down and he goes, "Oh, mate, you got to put it in the back of the ute. So you can't reach it." He goes, "It's all right that you've got it, but you just got to move it out there." He was a lovely bloke, but yeah, absolutely fine. But yeah, so but yeah, that's the Wanderer story, mate. And been doing YouTube now for 4 years, whatever it is now, 3 years, 4 years, and loving it, mate. Loving the interaction, loving the community stuff, and getting to know all these people and these Legends events. Your event last year, mate. This is what it's all about, Yeah,
it is.
Having a good chin wag with everyone.
It's what makes part of it. What we'll do now, we'll get on and we'll talk about camping because we've been jibber jabbering for 49 minutes and we haven't mentioned camping yet. But what I might do is do the slideshow, Dave, and start off with you and talk about your camp setup. That's what everyone wants to. Hang on, Steve. Hey, what was that campsite you showed photos of yesterday? You were camping, looked really good. Heaps of bats in the background. Yeah, that was a good photo, that one, mate.
Yeah, that's on the Burrum River. And that was about a year ago. It came up in my memories. I thought, oh, geez, that's right. But it's interesting talking about putting photos up at campsites. Obviously, I'm a freelancer, right? And a lot of the people I work with follow the channel and they follow my Instagram and all that sort of stuff. And I'll put a photo up like that and I'll say, awesome campsite, blah, 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 whatever I'm saying on the post on Facebook or whatever. They all think I'm working. They all think I'm camping. So no one rings me for work. And all of a sudden I look at my calendar, I go, geez, there's not much work for the month. And I ring up all the local contacts and I'm like, oh no, aren't you out camping? And I'm like, no, mate, that photo's from a year ago. What are you talking about? Give me some work. It's double-edged sword. Double-edged sword.
Backfire on you, that one. Yeah. So anyway, we'll get into it. I'm going to add some photos. You're bloody... So, Dave, here we go, mate. The trouble and strife there. Andy and Saxon.
I guess you're wondering how such an ugly bugger like me can have such a good-looking kid, but yeah, miracles do happen. But, he's a little cutie. He's 4 years old now, so he's and he absolutely loves camping. So that is, he's for a 4-year-old, he's fantastic around the fire, knows what not to touch and stuff like this. Loves going and collecting the firewood and stuff like that. So, yeah, awesome.
Oh, good stuff, mate. Great to get him young, eh? And you know what? He'll remember that when he gets older. He'll remember all this camping from a young fella. It never leaves them, mate. Like my kids still remember when they were little kids, when I used to take them out camping and that over in Western Australia. He'll go on to camp himself because he'll remember it, how good it was as a young bloke. So, what about Andy, mate? You like going out and getting into the camping as well?
Yeah, I mean, it was totally new for both of us, right? We'd never really camped before we come to Australia.
Yeah.
And I definitely am, Ed. Thanks for that comment. So we decided that we would buy a Black Series camper trailer, one of those ones that you fold out and it's massive, right? You literally could have like a party of 200 people inside it. So we bought that and we took it camping, and it was about 38 degrees. We spent 3 hours setting it up, and then we decided that we would either go camping again or get divorced after setting that up. So we went one time and put it straight up for sale and got rid of that. And then we sort of looked around for another option, and so we got a roof tent. I had a Land Cruiser 200 series, and we put a roof tent on top of that and used that for a while. Went to the Drifter event down at New South Wales, that one, in 2017, I think. That was just before we had Saxon, and that was the first time we saw dot trailers, and I was hooked on that. I absolutely love the dot trailer. So we looked for one, and I managed to find one for sale up in Brizzy. So shot up there and picked that up, and we had a great time with that trailer.
Yeah.
And used it, pretty much, once a month for a couple of years, really. And then I just weirdly got bored of it. I think that's just a me thing. I get bored of stuff. No real reason. So decided to sell it. And at the same time, I was towing the dot with my Raptor, Ranger Raptor. I bought one of those, the first edition ones.
Yeah.
And I sold that roughly at the same time. Mainly just because a couple of things. One, I've got a knee injury from playing soccer from a few years ago. And that's really sort of coming back to haunt me as of like 10 years on. So ladders and stuff don't feel that comfortable. So I really wanted to start camping more on the ground. We've had the Oz tent for a while as well, the RV4, which I absolutely love. And
they're good.
We use that quite often. But then, so from there, really, after the dot, really didn't have a clue what to get. So what I do fancy doing, and haven't done it yet, so this season coming up, I really want to do some snow camping. which we get the chance to do down here in New South Wales. And a good friend of mine is Mark from Baked in My Car. I'm sure some know it. Yeah, so he's got an FJ Cruiser and he sleeps in the Cruiser, and he lives just really close to me, so he often comes around for a beer. And we were both sat there one night and talking about like what we think would be a really easy setup for one person, or if I just want to take Saxon with me. And he said like, well, I've got the easiest setup because it's no setup. I just sleep in the back of the FJ. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a bit too fat for that. So it would be I've been fat all my life, right? So when I was christened, I asked to keep my t-shirt on. I'm that fat. so yeah.
Oh, that was good.
So yeah, I needed something a bit bigger, and we got onto the subject of Delicas, and I've loved them actually from seeing them as a young bloke in the UK. Never really thought I would own one, but they are one of the most capable four-wheel drives out there. Exactly the same as a Pajero, to be honest. They're all the same running gear, same engine, center diff locks, 3-litre V6 engine, so they go okay. And yeah, so I picked this one up and started converting it into a vehicle that we can chuck the tent on the top of if we want to go as a family, or if I want to get away myself for a weekend. I've converted it to be able to sleep in the back. So yeah, just pull out the awning and ready to go. So
now the front end on that, Dave, but that's something you've added on, right? Like that's not how it comes custom. That looks tough, mate. That looks good.
That's completely standard, Rob, actually. So yeah, that's how they come. So mine come with a 2-inch lift already on it.
Wow.
Yeah, so I fitted the snorkel myself. And she's pretty ready to go, really. That was about it. I built the draw system in the back myself.
We'll see that in a minute, yeah.
Yeah, so I built it to accept like a drifted pull-out table, which you'll see in a few pictures in a minute. Yeah. And I've made the draw system the right height to be a bed platform as well. So it's literally a case of chucking a mattress in the back. So whether it's a self-inflating or which I bought one of those monster mats, and it's perfect and ready to go anytime you want. Takes 10 minutes to get ready. Awesome car. And I'm really enjoying it.
I can't believe they're an import, mate. I can't believe Mitsubishi didn't sell these regularly in Australia.
Yeah, so in Australia, they only sold the van version, which is an L400 panel van. So they never sold this version with the windows and the seats in the back. So this was literally for the JDM, like Japanese domestic market. So that's how they come.
I reckon they would have been, Rob, what do you reckon? They would have been a good seller in Australia. That's a tough looking little, and to think it's 4-wheel drive. So it can go where a Pajero, it's got all the Pajero running, the running gear and that on it, mate. So it's no slouch.
Yeah,
Delicia or Delica or whatever they're bloody Delica.
Yeah, Delica. I call it the deli bean because it looks a bit like a jelly bean, right? So the deli bean.
That's a tough little van. Look at it. I reckon it looks bloody cool.
Yeah.
Really good. And I know Clayton from Kickass has got one. And anyone who was at the Bluff Creek Drifter Camping event, when Clayton turned up he had speakers on it and it was blaring out, I love to have a beer with Duncan as he was coming down the hill. He's got Kick-Ass down the side of it. It's a cool looking van, and there you go. There it is there, mate. You made those drawers yourself. They got the bloody, I don't know if it's a Travel Buddy or an equivalent there. All
built it's a Kick-Ass one, Kick-Ass oven. And
it's a Kick-Ass oven in there.
Yeah.
Well, you got more skill than me making that. There's a better thing of it there. How good does that look?
That's tidy.
Yeah. So I just not bad for an international drug dealer to be able to knock that up myself, right?
But, look at the room in there too, mate. You still got plenty of room to throw a swag or your bags and your bedding and all that stuff in there.
Well, it's big enough to fit. When we put our odds tent in it, we can chuck it inside. It doesn't even need to go on the roof. It's that long inside. So, yeah, it's awesome. And so when I'm on my own, I just literally chuck one of the inflatable, self-inflated mattresses on that platform.
Yeah.
And good to go.
Sleep on there. You got a bloody roof over your head, mate.
Yeah.
Wow. That is absolutely. I suppose the only thing is camping in something like that up here in North Queensland, you'd have to have the Rob's gone. Rob the Wanderer has gone. Where is he? I'm gonna have to bloody.
He's got to buy a Delica.
What happened to you, diddly donk? I heard you're gone.
Sorry, folks. Yeah, it's all happening here. How good are these hard solos?
Man down, the Wanderer's gone AWOL. He's done it. I won't say it. Yeah.
Fell off me perch. Sorry, folks.
Mate, that's a really good job there. I was going to say before we're rudely interrupted with Rob just disappearing into the void, is up in North Queensland. You'd have to keep the doors and that open for some circulation, and I guess then the mozzies and that can get in. But that's the backpackers. A lot of the backpackers camp like that in little vans. All those juicy vans and Brits vans. There you go. Got the kick-ass awning on the other side, mate, for some privacy.
Yeah, that's right. So even with the back door open, the way the seal around the boot works is if you've got like a stretchy fly net, like a mozzie net, you can just stretch it over around the back, like around the perimeter of the thing, and leave the back open at night. So it works perfect.
Well, there you go, mate. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
got the awning.
That's very impressive, mate. There, that is. What with all that stuff in there, Dave? What kind of weight are you sitting at? Like, where are you with that?
Look, I wouldn't be able to tell you, Rob, but it's nowhere near at the limit, and it pulls like a train. Now and again, I tow a dot trailer with it, and it tows beautiful. I think Terry G asked that question. I mean, for a dot 6, with my Bundy tech on top of that, it towed it no problem at all. So,
wow,
wow,
yeah, it's really, it's good. It's really unique.
Has that got the Pajero diesel engine in it or a petrol?
You can get it with the diesel and the petrol. My one's a petrol, 3-litre petrol.
Righto.
Yeah, it does about 14 to the 100. So I mean, it's a little bit thirsty, but it's not bad. I mean, I camp. I don't really go much further up than say Stockton, and then just down past Wollongong. So I stay kind of local to Sydney. So it's not doing big mileage, and I picked that up for 18 grand. So
wow.
They're very reasonable. Yeah, they're very reasonable.
Well,
that's incredible.
Good, and we're going to talk about it soon. Andrew St. Pierre White from 4X Overland, one of his builds this year is going to be a Hi-Ace, a Toyota Hi-Ace van, and there's a company that converts the Hi-Aces into 4-wheel drives. I'd hate to think how much that would cost, and they build them, they do everything so it can go off road, and then Andrew's going to do a build on the Hi-Ace, and I think I can't believe there's not more vans similar to this that are 4-wheel drive capable getting around this country. If anyone knows some that I can't think of any off the top of my head. Something like this would have sold well in Australia. I'll tell you now.
Oh,
yeah,
totally.
I think so.
I don't know if you remember the Wicked vans that used to get around, Buck. Dave, you might have seen them too. They all just disappeared one day, and then everyone sort of went, "Oh, okay, I guess we're not doing that anymore. We're not doing the van thing." And everyone went and got Rangers and 79s and BTs, and this style of camping just almost vanished overnight. You don't see it much anymore.
I think it's still got merit. And you know what? Even if you don't have a 4-wheel drive, let's face it, a lot of the campgrounds, you can get there in a bloody 2-wheel drive, can't you?
Yeah.
Some of the nice campgrounds and some of the camping areas along the New South Wales coast and all that, you don't need a 4-wheel drive to get to them. So imagine decking out a Hi-Ace or a Toyota Coaster or something, similar to what Dave's done here. Absolutely fantastic. I love this style of camping. There you go, mate. And I love this too. We're going to talk about simple camping tonight. It doesn't get much more simple than that. Tell us a bit about your camp setup there, mate.
Yeah, so this was one trip. Again, this is like a hip camp. So, and a friend of mine hired that Winnebago that you can see in the background. So, if a Winnebago can get in there, most hip camps are really accessible.
Yeah.
And you still have that privacy that there's usually not too many people on the site.
Yeah.
So it's quite cool. But this was one where the three of us went away. So for this trip, I decided I bought that RS1, that little Oz tent swag. So I mean, easily the three of us could get in could fit in the Oz tent, the RV4. But I wanted to try it out, so we set that RS1 little swag up and the RV4 Oz tent, and I mean they're the same width almost essentially, so they just go together really nice. The way that the front pitches up gives you coverage from the rain and dew and stuff like that. Sorry there about the European lager. I'm sure that upsets.
Heineken, that's not a bad. It's a Heineken. Yeah, it's not a bad beer, Heineken. But look at that. That's a great little setup, mate. I really like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that all fits inside the Delica. Nothing on the roof.
Wow.
That's impressive. Yeah. Those Oz tents are unreal.
They're good. We got the RV5. They are a very, very good tent.
This live stream's going to sound like This live stream's about to sound like an advert, isn't it? Because I run the Oz Tent bunker now too, so we're all running the Oz Tent gear.
Yeah,
no, it is got
you can't
simple setup.
Yeah, I still love camping in canvas. I don't think you can beat real camping. I love that tent experience. So for sure, the Delica's a great setup for me. And when I get to go and do some snow camping this winter, I've got a little diesel heater that I can take, so I'm sorted for staying warm inside. But for me, I love tent camping still, so best of both worlds really.
The good thing about that is if you want to go exploring, mate, you just roll your awning, awning in, and you can still go and drive around. The problem with rooftop tents and all that stuff is you've got to pack everything up if you want to go exploring for the day. But there, all you do is put your valuables in the car, roll your awning in, put your valuables in the car, and all your sleeping gear, and that, just zip your tent up. You can put a little bloody padlock on your zip or whatever, and you can still go exploring. And then you come back and your campsite's already set up. You don't have to reset it up again like a rooftop tent. And people have got like there, and that is the problem with rooftop tents. You got to pack the damn things up every time you want to go for a drive into town to grab another carton of beer or some bread or something.
And with the RV4, I've got the wall kit, and I've got the RV4 tag along. So sometimes we take a few friends with us, so we can sort of take away that RS1 swag and basically put another whole 3-man tent on the other side of that, and you can easily sort of sleep 6, like 2 families. You wouldn't do it with your mate, but Rob might do it with some of his mates, but ideal for family.
$20 is $20, mate.
$20 is $20.
Rob would fit 6 in the RV1 there. How is the RV1? Is it there? They look good, don't they?
They're very good. They do get a little bit of condensation, but I think that's a thing with all swags. No one's really going to stop that. I think that just really comes down to cubics, right? Like one body in that much space creates condensation. So
absolutely.
But I will say it dries out really fast. You leave the doors open half an hour, it's good to go. So
yeah, I like it. I just love that great simple. I remember Brad Hooker. He used to have Oz tents, and he used to be able to zip them onto his 270 awning. Brett had an absolutely amazing setup, and I had a video clip on it on my old channel. It's gone now. Brett Hooker had a similar setup. It was very, very good. That's inside the Delica, mate. And there's the Crazy Dog. How good do they look? The Crazy Dog seat organisers.
They literally look made to measure, right? Perfect.
Oh, mate, aren't they just – that's a perfect fit. And I'm so glad. I said to Jace, I said, mate, I had some seat. I forget what they were, just a MSA or something like that. Every time I tried to find something, there was that many pouches on the back of it. I had to undo every pouch to find what I was looking for. Me tire deflators. Which pouch are they in? And it was like a pain in the ass. I said to Jace, why don't you use the clear plastic so people can see what's in there? And it is. I still stand by it. It bloody works. Yep. It's good to be able to look and go, I need my winch cable. There it is. It's in that one there. You can see everything that's in there. All your Mozzie sprays and, and your sunscreen and that I put up in the top pockets. But it's really handy to have those clear pouches. What do you store in there, Dave? What do you got in thing? Obviously, that's what you fit them.
Yeah, I keep in the top bits. I keep my Mozzie spray and a few different cans. In the clear bits, I like to keep knives, spare zip ties, things like that. Yeah. Stuff that you just might need that you don't want to go rummaging for, So you can see it, it's there. Spare lighter, like little things like that you've got in your hand 1 minute and you lose it. Well, there's a backup over there. So
and the good thing, you look in and you can see what's in behind the clear plate, and you go, there it is, lighter, and you go straight to it. Oh, they're a fantastic thing. Available at Crazy Dog Canvas, guys.
Yeah,
if you ever want one of those.
I've got a lot of camping gear, a lot of styles of camping, right? So from trailer camping to car camping and tent camping. If you were going to ask me my 2 or 3 favorite things, I would say these Crazy Dog covers, seat backs are in there, and I would say my Crazy Dog Buckaroo duffel bag, army bag as well, because that goes everywhere with me. Yeah, every time I go camping, that comes with me. So
they're made out of good thick canvas too, mate. Yeah. Really good ripstop canvas. Oh, as we know, Jace does some very good work, and when you get those, I remember I grabbed mine out when they turned up, and the first thing I just thought, my God, they're well made. They're not those cheap, you get MSA or Kings. They just look cheap and nasty. You get Jason stuff, and it just looks, look at that. It just looks schmick, doesn't it? It really does. Look at the room. Look at the room in there, mate. Like, just got the room in it. Like, if you've got kids in that, like as you have, mate, young Saxon and that, like room to spare in there. These vans, these four-wheel drive vans, I might make a Mr. Buckaroo one and start selling them. I reckon you make a fortune. Now, these things here, mate, Andy makes them. Tell us a bit about this stuff, because I can tell you now that something like that made out of paracord on your zips, you're trying to get on your awnings and that, the bloody zips and that. Imagine these things hanging off your zips so you can grab the ball and you're not trying to rummage for the actual zip. Tell us a bit about these things.
Sure. So how this started, right, was when we were in the throes of COVID, all in lockdown in Sydney for months and months. We weren't obviously doing any camping, right? So we decided that we would set up the RV4 in the backyard, and we had a lot of cookouts in the backyard, and we sort of we didn't camp in it, but we were in and out of it all day long just for fun with Saxon. And Andy said to me, these zip pulls on the Oz tent are crap. Basically, you can't open the zips. And I said, what it needs is, going back to my old days of working at sea, people will know a monkey's fist, right? Which is like a rope with a big ball on the end of it. And you throw it on ashore to make it like a heaving line to pull ropes and stuff. Yeah. And I've seen people make them with paracord. And I said, they would make some great like zip pulls. And she said, I'll order some paracord, because she's, being an architect, she's pretty good at this kind of creative stuff. And then she got into it and she started making them. and she does like a whole pack of like 13 zip pulls for an Oz tent, and she's kitted them all out for the right size for what you need for the tent. So you can replace every tag with a pull, and add it to your zip. And this was another thing that she did. So we were traveling overseas, and we got some air tags, you know, the Apple air tag, and we said, oh, they're a bit like conspicuous though, right? You can see them, and you can't, you know, there's not many cases you can put them in. So Andy said, well, I think I can make a weave a paracord monkey fist around one to conceal it, and then put it on a key ring so you can attach it to everything. So obviously she did it for me in the camo paracord there, and I put that one on the side of my buckaroonie bag, which I usually use for flights and stuff when we go overseas.
Yeah,
because we travel quite a bit. So yeah, and it's great to be able to just know where your bag is, right? I can look at my phone and see where my bag is, and it perfectly conceals the air tag. So it's a nice little thing.
How good is that?
Dave, we're gonna have to chat after this, mate. I want one of them with the air tag.
Yeah.
That's brilliant, mate. Yeah.
And I know a lot of people are probably, I think their ears and their eyes have pricked up seeing this, mate, and have gone, I know exactly where, and I know I'll be buying a set of bloody Oz tent ones for sure, because I've got the RV5, and I'd love to get a couple of those for my one of the things is already stuffed on the 270 awning on the camper trailer. Steve Fuller broke it on me before I picked it up, he did. So, we can throw a couple of them. So when you want to open your awning, you just grab the bloody little monkey fist thing, and you can pull it. And that paracord, I love that. That's not just your standard olive drab paracord. That's got the nice camo. I don't know where.
Yeah, that's the camo one, and she's got all the colours. So she's and these are just some examples of key rings that she makes up. So I'll get her to post the Etsy site up. I think she took it down over Christmas because she didn't really want to get any orders in. Yeah. But she'll post it back up again, and you can see the product she makes. And
key tags clip onto your belt, your belt buckle, and all that type of stuff, or something you don't want to lose.
It could be
very much. And this is very much like a hobby for her, right? She's not looking to make much money out of it. These are about $15, $20, and they cost about $13 to make. So
tell her not to do her money, mate, because I reckon she's onto something here. This type of stuff here, mate. And what I might get you to do, Dave, is get in touch with me, mate. I might put something up on Facebook so that people know exactly where to go. And if you can give me the website or whatever, so we can see what other stuff Andy makes. But look at this. How good do they look, guys? I can just see all this stuff for camping and around the house. People are probably thinking, I know where I can use one of them. And these little things here, even there's probably places around the house where you can go. I know where I can use that. So, mate,
I just found these. So this is a whole set for an Oz tent. So there's about 15 here, because believe it or not, there's about 15 per Oz tent.
Wow.
So one of them looks like this, and they're just awesome for just pulling. She does the Oz tent ones in orange because they're easy to see at night and stuff like that, you know. But
the Oz tent guy ropes are orange anyway. If you buy them off
So that's why she did it, to match it all up. So,
mate, how good is that? If you got an Oz tent,
all I do at the moment is I just put white lecky tape on all my zips at the moment. This is much better than that, just so you see them at night, with white lecky tape. But this is brilliant, mate.
Rob, you got something to grab onto, mate. So instead of at night you're trying to find the actual zip, that one you just feel for the bloody little monkey fist, and open she goes. So keep your eyes open on my Facebook page, and even Rob the Wanderer, you might be able to post it up there. Dave, tell him she might be busy soon, mate, because I reckon there's a lot of people out there that will look at this stuff just to put your keys on stuff when you're out camping. How many times do you go, where have I bloody put them? And that way you can just go clip, and get into the habit of just clipping them on, and even on those, we'll go back to the Mr. Buckaroony seat cover. See, Crazy's even put a steel buckle there so that you can hang stuff off there. So you could be able to use one of those in conjunction with the Mr. Buckaroony Crazy Dog seat cover by hooking that onto the steel ring there.
Wow. She might be watching it. I think Andy's watching in the chat. So I'll
say, Andy, how are you? I hope you're well. And I'll tell you what, there's some, I wish I had half your skill, Matt. That is just absolutely fantastic. Really well made. Look at that.
Yeah, they really work. I mean, that has been, I would say, through at least 20 airports with me. And it's perfect. It's...
That might be the go. If you've got one of those Apple eye tags or whatever, guys, and you do want to conceal it, maybe one of these things is the way to go. So anyway, keep your ear to the ground. Me and Rob the Wanderer and even Saxon Overley in there, and we'll get to Andy some work. Andy might start throwing shit at the computer. So, Dave, I didn't want to do any bloody work this year, and I've got to start making shit again. Dave, thanks for that. Absolutely fantastic setup, mate. I love your vehicle, that Delica or Delicia or whatever they're called. I just think those vans, there's a market for those in this country. There really is. Someone needs to tap into it. I'm going to just get rid of this for a minute. Has anyone, because I can't see the comments at the moment, fellas, because I've been on a different screen to what you have seen. Steve W saying good morning to Andy Richards over there in the UK. So let us know, guys.
There was actually, there was a question, Buck, and I don't know whether actually got answered, Dave. Someone was asking, is it auto or manual your car?
Mine's auto, auto box. But there are some manual ones around, so they do both.
Yeah, absolutely. Brad Amy's very talented. Absolutely, that's some great work, and I didn't realise you could get paracord in so many different nice colours, mate. I've only ever seen it in the old army olive drab colour, but there's the camo one, there's the orange, there's the blue, and there's some really good stuff out there, mate.
Yeah, she buys all her camo from the US, so it's really high quality. It's all UV protected, so none of it fades and stuff like that. It doesn't break up, and you can get it wet. So yeah, definitely. Obviously, like everything, there's qualities, right? But she just buys the good stuff. So
if you think there's merit in some of Andy's, put a thumbs up, guys. If you're really interested in grabbing some of Andy's stuff that she makes, the Oz tent thing, I think that's a must, mate. Absolutely, mate. This bloody out there touring. I just missed it again. When you're ready to sell rather than as they charge a minimum. Okay, well, Dave, that's something you can talk with out there touring. If there's a way we can get you the money so that you just pocket the money and someone's not getting 10% out, you know what I mean? Like, if we can just give you the money there, absolutely fantastic.
And I know she's a big fan of the Legends thing, so I'm sure that she will do a deal and support that as well. So
that's good.
Are you booked in, Dave? Are you booked in to come, Dave?
No, but we want to go now because we thought we would be in Thailand at the time. We go backwards and forwards to Thailand quite a lot. We've got, a big community of friends there and stuff. And so, we sort of 3 or 4 times a year at least. So we were planning to be away, but we're looking to be here now. So I really want to come. So I need to get booked.
Get on the reserve list, mate, because things come up. A lot of people pull out at the last minute. So I think Phil the Maniac saying, did your Bunda top sell, mate?
Yes, it's gone with the dot. So with dot 38, we left it on there.
Okay.
But I would say, I'm sure, like Phil, massive fan of the Bundy top. They are, for me, the best hard shell tent out there. Awesome.
Did you have trouble with your mattress getting rougher over time, mate, like Phil, or did you find it was okay?
On your day?
No, I didn't actually. I mean, I would have said I've probably spent at least 50 plus nights in it and didn't really have that issue. But we did have the condensation mat underneath the mattress and an eggshell topper on top. So it was boosted.
Phil, have you got the eggshell topper on top? I can't remember if you did have. But anyway, that's what did Ed say there? Wonder Aussie's on his second glass. God help us all.
Hey!
What we're going to do...
Up the Queenslanders.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for showing us over your camping setup, mate.
Yeah,
that's unreal, Dave. Yeah.
Simple but effective. And we'll come back. We'll talk soon about some of the things you do want, some of your must-takes and some of your nice-to-haves and some that really need to be left behind. Well, we'll go through that too, some of your favourite camping items. So we'll come back to you soon, Dave. Now, Rob the Wanderer, this is your Ranger in the background, mate. Now, speaking of having a simple camp setup, and there's nothing wrong with it, mate. I'm not having a go at you here. Simple, less is more type thing, as a lot of people say. And being single, there's nothing worse than having to set the Taj Mahal up when you go camping. You've got a simple setup, mate. You still get out there, enjoy yourself, and it doesn't take you 3 days to pack away. So basically, there's big solar panels out there, and that's basically an aerial view of your camp setup, mate. It doesn't get much. So run us through it, mate.
No. So as you say, the Taj Mahal setup, like most people, when you start camping, you want to buy everything, right? You get sucked in. Oh, buy the shower, buy this, buy that, buy everything, and I fell into that trap. And my first probably 2 years of proper camping, I would set everything up like the Taj Mahal. I got a clip up on my YouTube channel. It's my solo camping setup, and it's my the full setup, and that's how I used to start camping. And the more you camp, the more you realize how much crap you don't need, right? So what I started doing was I would put a bit of tape, green tape, like a green circle sticker, on every bit of kit I put in the Ranger. And if it still had a sticker on it when it came home, as I'd use it, I'd take the sticker off. It didn't go again. And then what you end up doing, is you condense down and you go with exactly what you need. So
what a great idea! I've never thought of that, Rob.
Yeah. So I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't go too hard too early on it. So put your green sticker on it. Take it a second time for a different style of camping. You might be going to the beach or you might be going out bush or whatever. So you need different things. But you'll find out very, very quickly how much crap you don't need. And that's how I've sort of got it down to this. So
I'll play that
hey, on your mark.
Yeah. Bloody hell. That's a good idea, mate. Yeah. Declutter.
Yeah, so I used to set up everything. I would have the gazebo, the hub, the floor, the swag, the shower, the fire pit, the tables, the whole kit and dice, right? I never went as far as having, fridges and TVs. You see some people who go camping with TVs and all the rest of it. If you got young kids, totally understand it. But some people go real hardcore and they take bar fridges and set them up inside their tent and all that sort of stuff. Never went to that length. But I've sort of condensed it down to this. What I would probably add to this usually would be either a gazebo, 3x3 over the top there, if it looks like it's going to be a wet weekend or whatever, or the hexatarp, the drifter hexatarp. I'm a big fan of that drifter hexatarp. I think it's fantastic. Yeah. The coverage you get on that thing is absolutely great. That's probably the only thing missing from this photo. It's cropped out of the photo, but on the right-hand side, I did have my shower set up on this trip. So the shower comes with me, little, what is it, the Aqua Heat, companion Aqua Heat shower. And they're very absolutely popular. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, they are so good. Get the Aqua Heat, not the Aqua Cube. It's half the size of the Cube. Absolutely, I can't rate it high enough, that companion Aqua Heat. I know you've got the hot tap in the dot there, Buck. You've got the hot tap one. Horses, of course, they both do the same thing. So as long as it works for you, that's all that matters.
Brent wants to know the Maniac's got his ice.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, people get a bit carried away, don't they? But I don't mind the ice maker. This camp, in fact, Phil was there and Terry G and Robin were with us. Phil had his ice maker. It was a hot day, and trust me, it was nice having that luxury of Phil's ice maker on this one. But that's essentially it. So you got the floor, the King's floor. There's some good King's gear and there's some rubbish King's gear. The floor, the sand floor there is fantastic. Can't rate it high enough.
Yeah. The
Bunker Pro, absolutely, Dave. It's such a... And there is that discussion out at the moment about what mats to use. Try not to use those mud mucker ones or whatever they are for the caravans, because the grass and everything underneath doesn't breathe. If you get a breathable mat, one where the sand goes through but doesn't come back up, you won't kill the grass.
Like a sea gear. The only thing I didn't like about the King's one is it curled up at the edges and you could trip over it, whereas the sea gear mats didn't curl up at that. So one thing I didn't like about the King's one, and I've still got it out in the shed, is it curled up and it's bloody easy to trip over. And if I start tripping on things, I usually do hamstrings and shit at my age. So, but for
absolutely.
For the price, they're especially in sandy areas, they are a must-have. Those Kings type and sea gear type mats, they're a must-have in the sand.
It's great for kids as well.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah. You'd have to worry about ants and all the carry-on.
Just good. Especially have one, going up into your rooftop tent. It's to get everything off your feet before you go on the ladder to get up in your rooftop tent. They're absolutely fantastic. Gidgey's on there somewhere. Guys, me brother Gidgey Gorilla.
G'day, Gidge.
I think he's on there. He's arrived at Early Beach. Sorry, Gidge, I missed you there. Ken's left the big smoke of Brisbane and is now residing at Early Beach, guys. He's going to pop up and see Mum and Nutty and the family and that up in Townsville the next couple of days. But Gidgey made it to Early this afternoon, so doing it tough at Early Beach. Good on you, mate. I'll be down to visit you soon. Don't you worry about that. Absolutely. Sorry, Rob, we'll keep going there.
No, mate, no apologies at all, mate, needed. That King's floor, $25, I'm pretty sure it is, and for a 3x3. I mean, how good's that?
Price point is perfect.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, there's some King stuff that's great, some King stuff that's rubbish. But if you're just getting into camping, I have nothing against people going to Kings. If you have no idea how to camp or whatever, get down there, buy what you think you need, and work it out from there. And then upgrade.
I'll tell you now. Go, Rob.
No, you're right.
I went into the King's store in Townsville. Every time I go down there, I seem to venture in there. That King's store now, they've got a lot of gear in there, mate. It is well presented. It is, when you walk in there, it is a very well presented camping store. It's up there with the best. They're getting a lot more gear now, Kings. Some of their gear's a bit hit and miss, you know what I mean? But and it gets a big crowd in, mate. People, the average Joe, can afford the stuff. And mate of mine, I'll still remember it. Tim Appleby, his name, he was my boss at the prison. He said, Buck, if it wasn't for Kings, I wouldn't be out camping because I can't afford to buy all the big high-end shit. He said, I've got King's swag and King's mats and King's camping chairs and all that. And he said, that's the reason I go out camping on long weekends, and that is because I can't afford to go buying bloody Snow Peak and all these big name stuff and that. He said Kings has allowed me to get out camping with the family, and fair enough. That's a very fair statement. And I'll tell you what, bloody, if it gets people out camping, you go on Fraser Island and have a look how many people have got Kings gear. And who cares if it's got Kings on it? They're on Fraser Island and they're camping. That's the main thing, is that they're out there with their families camping. Not just on Fraser or Gary, whatever it's called now. Anyway,
I love that comment from Ty Fenwick there.
Where's I'll highlight it if I can see it. How far back was it?
Here we go. Only a little bit, Yeah, if there was one guy in the community that was having a garage sale, I would literally go to Ty Fenwick's garage sale.
Ty has got some gear. I'll tell you who else has got some gear. Fuller. Steve Fuller.
Yeah.
If he had a garage sale, he could sell about 850 bits of shit to cook on. He's got more cooking on stuff than what I've got, and that's saying something. And Ty's got some stuff as well.
I don't buy anything without seeing Steve Fuller buy it first. That's my rule.
Paul's the guinea pig. He tests everything, gives everyone the thumbs up. But mate, the bunker. What's the bunkers like, mate?
The bunker is fantastic. So it's a single one, obviously. The bunker stretcher. Now, everyone wants to know about the stretcher. And I've had this thing for a year now. And there's been quite a few people who keep hitting me up wanting me to do a review on it. So that's coming. And I've had it for a year now. And I feel like I can give a good, hard, honest review. It is fantastic. Now, I don't always have the cover on. If it's going to be a dewy night or a cold night, I'll throw the cover on. Otherwise, you wake up covered in dew, essentially. But when you sleep in that thing with, say, under a gazebo or the hexatarp, you've just got the fly, almost like a traditional swag. Mate, it's magic. The breeze comes through. Everything is fantastic. And the stretcher itself, that's what most people want to know about. So the stretcher doesn't have a bar in the middle. So you don't have a bar anywhere along your back, which is absolutely fantastic. So even the higher name brands ones, the Austrail ones and stuff like that, a lot of them have a bar that go across right in the middle of your back, and you're trying to toss and turn and carry on. It's uncomfortable as all hell. But this one here is just the I don't know what material it is under there, some sort of lining. And there's nothing that sort of hinders you or gets in your way. And I've married it up with a Xped Mega Mat from Snowy's, which was probably one of the biggest expenses I've made in my camping setup in quite a while. And something you can't test, right? So it's like when you go buy a bed, you go into, Snooze or whatever, and you jump on the bed for 2 minutes while the salesperson's trying to sell you a $2,000 bed. And you go, oh yeah, this one's good. And then you don't really know, do you? So the Mega Mat from Snowy's, $499 or whatever it was for a blow-up inflatable mattress, right? Self-inflating. And I was very nervous buying that because you can go online and see the reviews and all that sort of stuff. And until you sit on the thing yourself, you don't know what the thing feels like, But well worth the money. And I'm now one of those people who will just tell anyone and everyone to go have a look at them. Yeah, they're pricey, but my God, I have great night's sleep on that.
What do they call it? Mega Mat?
Yeah, it's an Xped, E-X-P-E-D, Mega Mat. And Snowy sell them. I think a few other people do as well, obviously. But it's one of those things you can't really try until you've bought it. And, yeah, I have zero hesitation in recommending it. And if anyone said to me, what's the best inflatable mattress out there? Xped. And they do doubles, they do singles, all that. Yeah. Yeah.
They're great. Fantastic. I would say number 2 spot is the Zempire Monster Mat. Very similar.
Yes.
Very close, but probably $150, $200 cheaper. So if you're looking at budget, that's number 2 spot for sure.
Yeah, you're spot on there, Dave. Couldn't agree more.
I just saw Brass Monkey, which is also the ice maker Phil's got, the 12-volt ice maker, purchased a 30-litre Brass Monkey freezer during the Boxing Day sales. Impressed with the quality, $279, and has a better warranty than the expensive brands. Listen, if something's $279 and it's got a bloody 5-year warranty on you, why wouldn't you have a crack at it?
Yeah. So 100%. My friend Mark from Baked in My Car, he's got a couple of Brass Monkey fridges. I think he's had them 3 or 4 years, and they've broken after a couple of years. Take it back, warranty, no problem, get a new one.
Well, there you go. Timmy the toolman up in Cairns has got a couple of Brass Monkey fridges too, and he speaks highly of them.
It's all about how you treat gear too. I want to touch on that for a moment, right? So this is a bit of a serious issue for me because people buy stuff from Kings, they buy stuff from Anaconda, wherever, right? Wherever you're buying your camp gear, but it's how you treat it, right? If you throw it in the back of the ute and you just bloody throw crap all over it and you do whatever, of course the thing's going to break. And these people who come on and they get a gazebo and they snap the leg on it or whatever because they've got the thing at full height in 40-knot winds and they complain that their bloody gazebo's broken, have a look at what you're doing. Like Ted said, it drives me nuts. And then you see all these gazebos after a storm on Fraser and they're all smashed and bent. I've had my Austrail, this thing here, I've had this for 4 years. I've had that in 65 km/h winds out on Stratty on the beach. What you do, you drop the bloody thing down, you take all the walls off it, you use the ropes, you also peg in the legs, right? The actual hole in the leg. Yeah. This thing isn't going to move, right? Like, you just got to think about how you treat your gear. Sorry, I always get fired up on that.
I would agree, Rob. I mean, if you look at, and I think Buck's got one, if you look at the Big Daddy swag. Now, I saw somewhere online, someone did a cost per night evaluation of the Big Daddy swag. So if you say you'd probably get 200 nights out of it, you can pick them up for $200. That's $1 a night for, if you go to something like a crash pad, it's about $5 a night and they break at about the same time. So,
exactly.
You know, I mean, you've got to look at it. I mean, that Big Daddy swag from Kings is got to be their best item, and I don't think there's any quality issues with that. It's the same as every other swag.
It's got a bit of sag in it, but we've got a couple of fixes for that, especially the crab claw poles from Super Peg. And for the money, you can go and spend $600 or $700 on a bloody Darshi swag. We've had some great nights in our bloody Big Daddy Deluxe for the price.
Mate,
for $200
any swag can punch a hole in the floor on a rock.
Yeah,
and if you're spending $700 on one, you might as well buy the Big Daddy swag, in my opinion.
Yeah. But if you want to get the family, you've got to say 3 boys, and you want to take them out camping. Why wouldn't you go to Kings and buy 3 Kings single swags and get a Big Daddy for yourself? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that way it's affordable. Imagine trying to do that, going and buying Darshi or one of the big brand swags. You couldn't afford to do it unless you were very, very well off. Brad Howell is on fire. Newts is on from Scrunnel Funnels. Newts, hope you're coming to the Townsville show this year, because I'm helping Jan out at the Townsville show again this year in May, I think it is. Hope you're there, Newts. And we're going to have Newts on as a special guest one night as well, guys, from Scrunnel Funnels, and talk about how he came up with Scrunnel Funnels, which are absolutely great way if you want to refuel your 4-wheel drive, guys, out of jerry cans. The Scrunnel Funnel is the best thing on the market to do that. Nothing, let me tell you. They are very good. And, good to have you on, Newts. I know you've been on since the start, mate, so we'll have you on for a live feed one night, and we'll have a bit of a laugh and tell a few funny army stories and all that, and also get to have a chat about Scrunnel Funnels. Scrunnel Fellas. Absolutely. Why am I saying fellas instead of funnels? Bloody hell. Good at you on,
Drongo. 270 is knee coverage. This is interesting. So this is something I've been fighting myself out with for a while. So you can see the ute there, right? So that's the Ranger. She's a space cab. Now, you can see I've got the awning at the back, covering the back of the tray. I'd love to put a 270 on it that came along and then swung out around and covered the whole tray, or the majority of the tray, right? The problem is the actual roof rack from Rhino Rack, the size of the space cab, it's 1.5 meters or something. It doesn't even cover where you need to mount the bloody awning. Yeah. So that's why I don't run an awning. A lot of people ask, where's your awning, Rob? That's why it's so shallow. The awning on the back is a dune one, and it's only 1.5 meters wide or whatever it is, and 2 meters long or whatever to cover the tray. So that's how I'm doing it. I don't often run that setup unless I know it's going to be a really hot day or it's going to piss down while I'm at camp, just to cover the fridge, because everything lives in the tray there. But I'd love to run an awning, but on a space cab, the options are so limited. And I'd love to put a 270 on it, but with that
honestly,
size,
Rob, even on my Raptor, it wasn't much better. I could only get the smaller size 1.5 awning, not the 2 was just 2 meter was too big.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, okay. And like, I've thought about putting a canopy on, but with it being a space cab, the cost for that extra little bit on the tray to make it enclosed is just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So
geez, that noise sound.
It's a tough one.
Sounded good then. And look,
I'm on my third hard solo.
Catch up, boys.
I have to go out and get myself one in a minute. I'm sure Rob and Dave will be able to. It'd be nice. If I say to the boys before we came live, guys, if I did a build again, I'd love to get a new V6 Ranger or something, and love to have the aluminium canopy on the back and work out of have drawers and everything coming out the side. But the cost, Rob, to do get a Mix alloy, or up here, what's the big bloody one that's made in Norweld, which are a big green canopy, 20 grand or something to get a decked out canopy. And that's probably before you put a fridge and all that in there. It's just a lot of money, isn't it? It's a lot of money.
Yeah. And it's also a case of, as soon as you do that, your ute is gone. Your ute will never be a ute. Unless I know you can get the canopy that sits on a tray, but your traditional ute with the style side and all that, you'll never have it back. So it's such a commitment to go down that road. So if you drop your 10K or whatever and you put the canopy, steel canopy on the back with the opening doors and the, batwing awning and whatever, and you don't like it, tough titties, mate. Like, you've done it. You've lost your ute. Yeah. You're not getting it back. So some of the cost of them, some of the cost of them, and I understand the cost because the quality on some of them is just phenomenal. Yeah. And there's no denying that. And the price, most of them is justified. But it's such a commitment. And once you do it, you can't go back. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. I mean, for me, after the Ranger, I'm going to have the Ranger for a couple more years, provided it doesn't give me any issues. Yeah. And Ty Fenwick kind of sponsored. Hook us up with one. There's three of us here that want one, Ty.
Tell them to give Rob the Wanderer a bloody canopy.
Yeah, that's right. After the Ranger, here's a bit of breaking news, I suppose. The next vehicle will probably be an old school troopy. I'm talking something with probably 300,000 on it, and already had a bit of bush time, and go full troopy and kit that out. But
a troopy would be good. I'd love to have a troopy. And what are your thoughts, while we're on that, what are your thoughts of the new 70 series, the troopies, the 76s and the 79s going to a 2.8 Hilux, basically the same engine that's in the Prado and the Hilux? Thoughts on that, fellas? Yeah, and I'll start it off. I love how when the Hilux came out and the Prado and that, no one ever said, these have got the power of a V8. Now all of a sudden Toyota's throwing that same engine into a 70 series, and all the Toyota fanboys are, it's got the power of a V8. What are your thoughts on that? I think the Toyota fanboys are full of shit. What are your thoughts of the 2.8 Hilux going into the 79s and that? Might be all right when they're clean skin. Start putting all the accessories on and bigger tyres and start towing and watch them come back down to earth then.
Yeah. My take on it is the thing about buying a farm truck, which essentially they are,
keep talking,
is that they have a V8 engine in them. And they've got tons of grunt, tons of torque. And that's what made it. I think that's what makes a lot of people be able to live with the fact that it's a farm truck. I mean, you haven't even got room to put your elbow on the window, let's face it. And it's a wind-up window. So
that's right.
They've essentially, for me, taken away the best part about it being a V8.
Yeah.
Now, why would you buy a farm truck that has got the same engine in it as a much better, comfortable car, being, anything else in their range, basically?
That's right. I think Toyota have seen the writing on the wall a little bit, but I think they might have gone a bit early. So I don't think what they've done is wrong. I just think it's too early in the cycle. It's kind of like when we all jump onto a trend, or we all jump onto like some sort of big social issue, and the first company wants to be in there with doing the right thing and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Land Cruisers, Toyota. You think longevity, you think the thing's never going to die. Even the old Corollas. Remember the old Toyota Corollas, the old hatchbacks? They just go and go and go, right?
Yeah.
These new ones, as Buck was saying, as soon as you kit them out and you put a bit of weight in them and you try and beef them up, I don't think they'll pull, essentially. And as you say, they're a farm truck. People bought them. They were designed for farmers and miners, right? Let's take it right back to the start. 250 grand or whatever they used to be. You get a wind-up window. You're not paying for an electric window. You're paying for an engine and a chassis and a vehicle that will get you from one side of the farm to the other in the middle of bloody monsoon season.
So take away the engine. What are you paying the money for?
Yeah. Yep. That's essentially it. And then now that they've come down,
you don't even get a cup holder, right? It's
no, that's right. That's right. And I want the troopy I'm chasing is an older one. I'm talking one that's been broken in, essentially. I'm not going to go for anything new. I think they're talking about cancelling the troopy altogether. I think the troopy's getting a full nail in the coffin.
That'll be a shame if they do, but they are still doing the 78 at the moment with a 2.8. Andrew St. Pierre White's doing 2 builds this year. Another troopy, that'll be his third troopy, or maybe even more that he's done. His third troopy here in Australia, the 2.8 auto. And he's going to do the high ace, as I said. So that'll be 2 good builds. He's going to try and do the troopy with Australian rather than going over and get South African gear. He's just going to try and build the troopy with out of ARB and stuff that's available here in Australia for the average guy. But Ronnie Dahl, I was watching Ronnie Dahl. He got the 76 series and he had it in the Sand Dunes. He said it's got some get up and go, the 2.8, but it's a clean skin at the moment. You know what they're like. They start putting bull bars on and bigger tyres and a roof rack and a draw system in the back, and then that 2.8 starts coming back to the field, and the next thing you know, your fuel consumption's out the window and all the rest of it.
Yeah. It's even the Ranger, for example. As soon as you throw the bull bar on, the roof rack, all the fruit, everything, the bigger tyres, the lift, you got to drive it different. You can't drive it the same way you drove out of the car yard. You're carrying so much more weight, and these things are working harder. And if you flog the arse end out of it, it's not going to last. And I think that's the case with the new ones. I think a couple of years' time, you're going to start seeing all issues with the new ones that are dropped.
Yeah, Russ is a V8 man. Russ from the Townsville Chiefs, guys. He's got the 200 series with a 4.5 litre V8 in there, and Russ swears by it. He said it bloody toes hard. And Cam Wilde today, I don't know if anyone saw Cam's 300 series with the Caravan on there, and basically he did the weigh-in. Brand new 300 series Land Cruiser with quite a large Caravan behind it. And guess what? If he didn't get that Petter's GVM upgrade on the 300 series, he would have been overweight. Yeah. So it just goes to show, if you're going to tow a Caravan, there is a fair to middling chance you are going to need a bloody GVM upgrade, because Cam said if he didn't get that pre-rego one done on the 300, he wouldn't have been able to tow that Caravan that he's got. So
I saw that from Cam, and I think he's making the best of the situation. But honestly, when you do a GVM upgrade like that and you're using the vehicle around town without towing a Caravan, it's too hard, right? It's very uncomfortable. And I think a 300 series that is not that comfortable, I don't know. So, it's great for a tow vehicle, but that's what you're making it. With that kind of GM upgrade, it becomes a tow vehicle only, really.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, the three, Cam's 300's looking good. He's put the new tyres on there. But once again, like $100,000. He's got the base model 300 series, 100,000, and then he's, you know what I mean. And then he had, I'd hate to think what that Petter's GVM pre-rego GVM upgrade was. That would have been $5,000 or $6,000 easy for that GVM upgrade. Then he's gone and put new rims and tires on it, and he's going to put another snorkel on there. Hasn't put a bull bar on it yet. He probably put an off-road animal or something on. Mate, it's just where's the cost stop when you buy these new $100,000 vehicles, and it just keeps going.
Yeah. Yep. Has he got a winch? He hasn't got a winch, has he?
Well, again, for me, when I had the Ranger Raptor as well, I mean, I bought that because Ty Fenwick bought one. So I blame him. But yeah, but no, when I got that, and even then, to be honest, I think, it's best part of 90K, right, at the time. And I was a bit scared to break it, to be honest. I didn't want to scratch it. 18K for the Delica says I don't mind curbing the tyres,
Yeah. And what we're talking about tonight, guys, is you don't need to go and spend $1 billion on stuff to get out camping. You just get out, and if you have to go and buy King stuff, go to a King store. And I recommend that if someone's just starting out and they've got a young family and they want to get into camping and they're on a budget, why wouldn't you go to an Adventure King store and start off there? It's a great starting point. And listen, if you buy a couple of swags, some chairs and all that type of stuff, there's better gear out there, but it's a lot more expensive as well. And everyone's on a budget. And let's face it, the cost of living now, you've got to tighten your belt. So you probably find that places like King's and Anaconda and all them are going to do a lot better now, because people don't have the spare cash to go out and buy friggin' Darshi and all this type of stuff now. Just using that as an example. Yeah.
And a good example of that is 2019 when I did the trip out to Birdsville and all the rest of it. When I got the Ranger, my first goal was like, right, first trip, Birdsville. It's been a bucket list item ever since I can remember, right? Birdsville, one of the most remote towns in Australia, and iconic. And I wrote, right, going to Birdsville. And the first thing I thought of was, right, okay, Birdsville, middle of nowhere, remote. I'm going to need to upgrade this Ranger to get there safely on my own, like put all the fruit on it. So that's exactly what I did. And like so many people, I got the lift, I got the tyres, got the bull bar, got the spotties, got the UHF, got the racks, the Max Tracks, got everything, right? Kitted it out, got the dual battery, the whole kit and dice. I tell you, you can get to Birdsville in a bloody Corolla now. It is absolutely unreal. Like the majority of the road from Windora to Birdsville, there's so much of it bitumen now. You don't need all the fruit. You don't need it unless you're going up and you want to climb rocks and all the rest of it. Half this crap we put in our cars, you don't even need. It's unreal. You know, I'm not into the rock crawling and all that. And the guys that are, good on them. I still owe too much money on the Ranger to smash it into a rock. But it's for touring and that, a good set of tyres, aggressive all terrains, maybe a lift just to get into some nicer camp spots. And the bull bar, like you don't need to go over the top, and I did, and I was actually quite disappointed in myself when I got to Birdsville after a couple of beers. I looked back at the Ranger and said, "Oh, it's beautiful," and then I went, "I didn't need half this crap to get here," you know. And that's the illusion that a lot of these companies put on. You know, oh, you need this, you need that, and I ate it. I drank that Kool-Aid like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, we've all fallen.
Now look at you know, yeah,
we've all done it.
Now look at my setup. It's a bloody. It's a floor, a bunker, a couple of tables, a cooker, and a fire pit. You know, that's all you need in a fridge.
King's looks like the little fold-out King's barbecues that you can throw over an open fire there, mate. Is it?
Yeah, no, that's so. I've got the grill is it's a little drifter table. And then the fire pit. The fire pit there was an open one, so it's just out of shot, but. Yeah, a little open one. The solar panels there were my old ones, which were from Super Cheap Auto. Ridge Rider 160 watt, which I ran over. I don't know if it was this camp or not, but I backed over them. They were leaning up against the back tyre. And I've jumped in, and myself, Steve Fuller, and Rob Richmond, we said, right, let's get a nice photo of all the rigs. You know, up on the hill, it was sunset. I said, yeah, let's do it. Jumped in the car. The solar panels are still leaning up against the car, and I've backed up, and all I've heard is this crunch, and then the rear wheel lift, and everyone's just laughing at me. And I'm like, what's going on? Came out, and dead set, they were shattered and bent and twisted all around the back of the tyre. It was bloody hilarious. The other half of them is actually sitting over there at the moment. One half is still good. So
no, that's all right. Yeah, they don't like being run over, that's for sure. But what we're just talking about, just keep it simple, stupid, the old thing. Here's one for you guys. I'll get you involved. Taking out your coffee machines, and I'm talking about your espresso machines. Wank or not? I'm calling wank on that one. I'm an instant man out camping. I know a lot of people now are getting into massive lithium battery setups and having bloody induction cooking tops and taking their coffee machines out, and I know Fuller and Snorky and them still take their coffee machines out. I'm happy to sit down and make a friggin' Makona in the morning on me jet boil. Dave, what about you, mate? Are you a yuppie? Well, you're a Sydneyite. I should be careful asking you this. You could be a coffee machine man coming from Sydney.
I have to go both ways on this, and I think Steve W, the English boys would agree. I'm a tea man. So being English, I can't really go about more than 2 hours without having a cup of tea with milk in it. So tea bags are good. But what I will say, being Matt, and I'm sure she's still watching, but being married to an Asian girl from the city that's never really been camping, we have been known to take the Nespresso with us just to have a few creature comforts. But yeah, I can live with that. You know, if you've got an inverter, you might as well use it. That's what I say. But
well, that's right. If you got the room and that, I'm only joking when I say it's a load of wank. It's not something I would take out with me.
Same. Yeah.
Anyway, put a comment up. Put up instant, guys. Put some comments up. Instant or bloody coffee machine? What do you prefer when you're out camping? I'm an old instant
man. Or tea if you're not gay.
Well, I've got to have a coffee in the morning, but during the day here at home, I drink tea. I do like a cup of tea in the morning. I have a coffee, and then I might have 2 coffees in the morning, and then I'll go over to tea, and I drink Yorkshire tea. I love the Yorkshire tea. It's a nice tea. Dave Langham, the diddly dong from Yorkshire, put me onto that, and we drink it at home here now. Yorkshire tea, and I probably have 3 or 4 a day here, cups of tea. Can't beat a cup of tea out of the billy, Dave. Bloody handful of leaves. Put the billy on the water over the fire. Handful of tea leaves. Do the 100%. Timmy Faith spin, and then have a nice cup of tea. That's the best way to have a cup of tea, mate. Out of a billy, and rather than tea bags, actually throw the tea leaves in there. Let them brew, and then spin her around to get all the tea leaves to the bottom. And pour her out. That's the best way.
As a kid growing up in England, with your nan and your grandparents around a lot, there was always a pot of tea on the go. Every time you went around there, it's just a way of life. And I'm sure that Steve W would agree. That's the way it is over there.
Steve he'd be an old chai latte. He's an old pommy bobby. He'd be a chai latte boy, I reckon. Steve W. But you reckon he'd still like his cup of tea. Debbie saying a swinging billy tea is better than anything. Absolutely. And when I get to cook on fire and that, I still love. I threw the billy in the camper trailer today. It was in the shed, and I thought I'm going to put that in the camper trailer so I don't bloody forget it on my first camping trip, because our first shakeout in the thing's going to be up the Woodley station, where it's good old fashioned camping, open fires, cut your own firewood, have a fire. That's the type of camping I like. Ray Newman saying, Batesy style, got to have the billy and throw the tea leaves in, and that's the reason. The reason was you let the tea leaves bloody brew in the water. A lot of people think swinging the billy around mixes the tea leaves up. It doesn't. It sits them to the bottom. So when you pour the tea out, you don't get a bloody mouthful of tea leaves. You would have known that, Dave?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Did you ever in England, mate? Did you just go out and boil the billy over the fire and make tea like that, or is that an Aussie thing?
It's too cold outside to have fires, right? But I mean, a lot of people in England have, like, my nana used to have one of those old, I forget the name of them now, but it's like a range oven. So it was always hot. They always had, it was fuel, and then it was like a big cast iron lid. Yeah, so there was always a kettle, always a billy on the go on the stove. And the minute you walked through the front door, within 10 seconds, there was a cup of tea in your hand. It was the way it was.
Oh, Russ is up. Russ reckons just eat tin food. I did 20 years of that, Russ, in the army, eating bloody subhuman food out of cans. The old pork and beans, you had to scrape off 3 inches of fat before you got any pork or beans in the army ration packs. I've done me time eating tin food, Russ. But an AeroPress. Now, I've heard a lot of people say that the AeroPress for coffee is very good.
Yeah.
You sit on a chair or go and find a rock.
Yeah, I love that. That is so good. The AeroPress, I was about to give one of those away in the Christmas live stream that I did in Chrissy. And I nearly gave one away, and I didn't. I want to get one. I'm a jet boil guy, right? First thing that goes in the ute, jet boil, then I start worrying about everything else, right? But, those little AeroPress, I don't even know how they work, but they look like they're probably second to a jet boil, you know what I mean? Like the second easiest thing to do to compare to a jet boil. But I haven't used one yet. I don't know if you need to buy pods or if you can use coffee grains. I have no idea.
Coffee grains, and then you push it down, I think. Mate of mine at the prison, right. Phil Foley, he always used to bring his AeroPress into the prison. So, you want a coffee buck? I'll make one in the AeroPress. So, ham and eggs. I did newts. We're going a bit of a newt's old bloody Grunnosaurus. I didn't mind the old ham and egg newt. A bit of fat on the top, but I didn't mind. I had to put a whole sachet of salt on there to be able to eat it, but I didn't mind the old ham and egg, I must admit. The pork and beans was repulsive. the pork and beans was how do we get to pick our we now get to choose our luxuries? Absolutely, Nicky. And hey, listen, if you want to go camping with a bloody $10,000 espresso coffee machine, do it. If that's what makes you happy and you still go. I know when you've got a caravan and that, you can probably do that. But for me, I still love boiling the billy in the morning over a fire or whatever. If not, the jet boil, or just get the butane stove out and boil the billy on that and have an instant coffee. I drink instant coffee at home. If I go out to a cafe, I have one of them fancy puffuccinos or whatever they're called. But at home, I drink bloody instant coffee at home as well. I'm not, like, I don't need a fancy coffee every day. I save that for when I go into town and me and Roz go to a cafe, and then I'll have a puffuccino or whatever then. So, but anyway,
it's all
lithium's
about ease of
been
use
the game
too,
changer.
Oh yeah,
lithium's a game changer, right? It just means you can do so much more now. Induction cooking, Phil with his air fryers and coffee machines. But I mean, 5 years ago, this wasn't the game, right? This wasn't the game we were in. So
Russ is he's a puffuccino. Russ is a puffuccino drinker from way back. Russ loves the puffuccino.
Russ is on fire tonight.
Russ loves meeting up with the boys down on the Strand for a puffuccino. Let me tell you. Kyle Haas, the Tassie Devil, he said, give me an instant any day. I'm an instant man. So, no, what about you, Rob? What are you do an instant in the jet boil, mate, or?
Mate, I'm an instant as well. I'll always drink coffee someone else has made, though. That's always a good coffee, someone else has made. But,
if you want one of these puffuccinos, I'll say I'll have a crack at one of them, I don't mind that.
Dead set.
Made one before, very nice. But
at your event last year, the one last year or year before now, at your $1, every morning I just went up to Snorks and said, mate, you got a coffee on? And I just got him to make one every morning.
The puffuccino machine. Fuller's got the puffuccino machine as well now. Change the picture. Sorry, mate. Here we go. Now, we got sidetracked. There's a couple more photos. There's one of my old things out the back paddock. I don't mind camping like that. And Roz and I have done a couple of camping trips like this. The old bloody 2.5 awning out off the BT, the sidewalls, King sidewalls, the Kings. There's the King mat there. I've got the sea gear as well. A little Bunnings table, a bloody lightweight fold-out chair, and a filthy old Big Daddy Deluxe swag. There is nothing wrong with camping like that.
If there was ever a promo shot for Kings, you're looking at it.
Yeah, I know. I've got a Ridge Rider awning on the thing now, but there you go.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah,
that camp set up there, guys. Without adding up, what's it? Would say $220 for the swag. That's probably there's probably $300 and something that camp set up.
Yep.
From King.
And the best part of it, mate, like that there, 15 minutes, you're good to go. Like, have a go at it. The awning's probably 2 minutes, and the swag's 5 minutes. And then, 10 minutes for the rest, mate. You're done 15 minutes. Thank you very much.
There you go.
Nice camping,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you can still have just as good a time as anyone else. And that's another great way to camp that Roz and I have done at Woodley Station. We camped like that. The 3 metre gazebo with we have the sea gear mat out there, a Bunnings table, a camp chair, and the gazebo hub tent.
Yep.
And if you want to you can use that gazebo hub just to store some bags and some camping gear or whatever, or you could put the sway, you can put your big bag. That is another. I'll tell you now, the 3 metre gazebo is one of those where you go, what's one of the best camping things that's ever been invented? I've got to say, the 3 metre gazebo. Not a Wanderer, but there's a lot of different brands out there.
Hey, what's wrong with the Wanderer, mate?
The Wanderer, yeah, I know. I'll tell you now, the best waterproof top on the market for the gazebo is King's. King's is the only one I've seen that's fully waterproof, mate. They're the top that goes on the 3 metre gazebo. The frame's not as good as some of the other brands, I must admit. but they're fully waterproof things on the Kings ones. But that's a great simple setup there. You go on Fraser Island, and every second campsite's got a 3-meter gazebo set up.
Yeah, that's exactly how I started.
It's crazy when you think about it. I mean, we all kind of try and evolve our camping gear, and we're putting some great awnings on the side of our cars and trailers. Like, you know, the good one would be the Outbound 6 that you've got, Buck, on your new trailer. Awesome bit of kit, right? But they're kind of $2,500. And really, you can get the same from that Wanderer awning, right? If you just chuck that up next to your camping trailer, does the same job at $300. You know, it's you don't need to spend a fortune to get out there. And I would love to see, I think, a lot more, you know, single dads that are doing it hard. Sometimes it's hard to get out there with your kids.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see a way that, as a community, maybe we could think about somehow recycling a lot of our gear that we don't use.
Yeah.
To give it to these guys that, you know, have custody of their kids on the every other weekend and don't really have the money for it. So I think that's something, you know, as a community, and I'm sure it's the same for, there's plenty of girls out there that would love to get out and do it with their kids as well. But I would imagine that between the community, we've got so much stuff in our garages and sheds that we don't use.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it go into some of these people that make the most of it.
Can you imagine? And the only problem with that, Dave, is what a wonderful idea. Imagine the camping gear. Like, I just think about the shit that I've got in my shed that I don't really need anymore, that I could donate to someone. But getting it to those people, that would be the problem, mate. You know, you can't post it for whatever. But what a wonderful idea. If anyone, I don't know, that's something we could look at. You know, wouldn't it be good if we knew there was a family out there struggling, and a single dad that wants to take his boys and he can't afford to do it, and the Buckaroony community got together and chipped into some swags and a gazebo and said, here you go, mate. And Rob the Wanderer rocks up in his bloody Ranger and goes, here you go, Dave. Here's here's some camping gear. Take the boys out camping on behalf of the community. For sure. You know, like that'd be, maybe it's something we could do in the year. I don't know how we could pull that off, or how we find someone out there that's in that situation, that there's a dad out there with 3 young boys, a single dad, and he'd love to take the boys camping but can't afford to get the gear. Wouldn't it be fantastic if we could come together? Imagine, like,
there's something in that.
I could give them about 18 cooking items alone out of this shed.
That's right.
Pete, the army mate, Beaker, Pete Donlan. I was in the army back in the 80s with Pete. We were bloody in Signals Corps together. I got to try this. Buck, try this. Woolworths brand instant coffee, 2 teaspoons. 2 teaspoons of coffee, mate, which has got coffee and sweetened condensed milk in it from memory. 2 teaspoons of sugar, milk, then add hot water. It's the creamiest cheap brew out there. Mate, that sounds like a bloody back of an FFR special brew, that one, an old Signal special one. There you go. Give that a go. Woolworths instant coffee, 2 teaspoons, 2 teaspoons of coffee, mate, which is like it's got coffee it's like coffee flavored bloody sweetened condensed milk, 2 teaspoons of sugar, milk, and then add water. Creamiest cheap brew out there. Give that a go, everyone. Thanks, Beak. I'll have to give that one a go, mate. That sounds like an old army bush brew. I'm sure Newts has had a crack at that in the bottom of a gun pit at some time, at some stage as well. It's amazing, guys. Hey, I remember when we were in the army, and you've been working and raining on you, and you've been out bush for a couple of weeks, and you're absolutely rat shit. Just a mongrel old instant coffee in the bottom of a gun pit was a morale booster. It really was. You didn't care what brand coffee it was, as long as it was a brew and it had some sweetened condensed milk in it and a bit of sugar for a bit of a pickup. That was the way to go. Now, speaking of Woolworths, we'll have to get another sort of instant coffee, because I refuse to spend a cent at Woolworths anymore after their latest Australia Day thing. They can get stuffed. I used to love those tin puddings you boiled in the winter, no longer around due to Muppets blowing themselves up. Stolzheimer reckons. Yeah, the old tin puddings. We used to call the tin puddings army. Newts back. We used to have tin fruit loaf, and we used to call it bunghole. because once you ate it, you didn't shit for about 3 weeks. We used to call it bunghole. We used to bung your hole. Yeah, the old bunghole. As soon as you said tin puddings, yeah. Mr. P, we'll be going off. We've been over 2 hours. We're going to go 2.5, and then we'll call it up. Hey, fellas.
Goodness me.
I want to try this. I'm going to add this to the stage. I was going to try how to get Stolzheimer's bloody thing off there. Hang on. Stolzheimer's stuck me up there.
You know what you're doing over there, mate, or what?
We'll get rid of that. Now, what I want to do is I was on Google Maps before we came on, and I thought, this is something I can do for another one. People, when I just on by myself one night, guys, someone can come in and go, Buck, Google, whatever. So at the moment, I'm going to, hopefully you can see this, everyone.
Yep.
Let me know that,
Yep.
that you can see what I'm doing. This place here, Arakoon, that's not the Arakoon I worked in. I used to work in Arakoon in Cape York when I was a police officer, Aurukun. This is Arakoon. And does anyone know where Trial Bay Jail is, guys? Trial Bay Jail, we were talking about this place the other day, and I want to go back there. Southwest Rocks. Southwest Rocks, which is just south of Nambucca Heads, where Roz and I stayed.
Just down the road.
Yeah, just down the road. We did a day trip down to the Trial Bay Jail at Southwest Rocks. This Southwest Rocks, everyone, if you haven't been here, is, oh, that's Scott's Head, sorry. Southwest Rocks is absolutely stunning. This place here. And that Trial Bay Jail, that's an old bloody convict jail or something, and they put all the Germans in there during World War II. You know, when they interned all the German people of German heritage, and that Trial Bay Jail. And there's a beautiful camping spot. We wanted to stay there. Stunning place, but this is National Park, and we had Rafa. But this Trial Bay Jail campground here, can you see my cursor moving around, fellas?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Looking good.
That there, and this is the Trial Bay Jail up here. And you can do tours through there, but this is the campground here. And the beach is absolutely glorious at Southwest Rocks. But we stayed at Nambucca Heads, and we stayed at this place here, down on the, I won't be able to find it now. You watch. It was called the Pelican Caravan Park or whatever. And there was, here we go, the Pelican Caravan Park. Roz and I stayed here for a week, and we did a lot of setup here at the Pelican Caravan Park. And these things down here, you see me cursor, that's an oyster farm. They had oysters in there.
Yeah.
Where they were doing the oysters, and we used to fish off the thing here, and you'd be fishing, and the bloody dolphins had come through, and you wonder why there was no fish to catch, because the dolphins used to swim around here in the morning and the afternoons and chase all the bloody fish away. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. But then, in Bucca Heads, this is another beautiful place I couldn't think of the other day, guys, when I was saying, have a look at that. And there's a lookout here. One of these places here is an actual lookout, and you overlook the Nambucca Heads River, and it's just, look at the colour of the water and that. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. That Shelley's Beach, someone drowned in that beach there the day we got to Nambucca Heads. So, yeah, there's another beautiful camping place, and people were talking about Southwest Rocks, which is there. And if you're wondering where it is, I thought it was, there's Kempsey there, Nambucca Heads, down from Byron Bay. So it's halfway between Byron Bay and Newcastle. And Nambucca Heads, and just south of there is a place called Southwest Rocks. And there you go, straight off the thing is Lord Howe Island, which is absolutely stunning as well. So that's something I want to do on another.
That Nambucca Heads, so many people just sail past Nambucca. They go to Byron, and then they shoot down to Newcastle or wherever, and you got to stop. You know, it's the same as tea gardens. Like, so many people just shoot straight past. I don't realise the magic that they're going past, you know. And like a trip like yours back there, ideal. You can just stop wherever you want. Oh, this is an interesting sound in town. Let's go in there. And you find things like that jail. So many people don't know that jail there. It's got to be the only jail in Australia with bloody $1 trillion views. You know, I mean,
and you'd
be in jail.
It was built by the convicts, and as I said, they used to intern all the German-speaking people there during World War II. Head, everything around there is a head because you've got the head, like everything juts out. There's red head, black head, hat head, Nambucca heads. Everything's called head down there in New South Wales. But yeah, we went to Hat Head, Boyd. It was all stunning down there, but Southwest Rocks, we have got to get back there. Justin Dillon, beautiful part of the world. Absolutely, Justin, yeah.
I'm sure Ty would agree, but I think that like Stockton Beach does Newcastle, a bit of a disservice in a way, because like a lot of people just think of Stockton and stuff when they think of Newcastle. There's so much more between that space between, coming out of Brizzy and getting down to Newcastle. It's fantastic along that coastline. And but it's the big ones that get the headlines, right? Like Stockton and things like that.
Yeah, Byron Bay and all that. Too busy up there, eh? It really was.
Sure.
Brad Howell shouted Roz and I, Hunter Valley scenic flight on our trip, and we went up Nelson Bay and Lake Macquarie and the Hunter Valley. One of the best scenic flights I've ever done. It was absolutely amazing, and got to get back down to Newcastle and catch up with Ty at the Tea Gardens and Nelson Bay and all those places. Hey guys, we're going on in nearly 2.5 hours. We've got 10 minutes. One thing I want to touch on now is talk about when you go camping, some of the first things you throw in and that are like must-haves, and then some other stuff that you reckon is probably we're getting a bit too fancy. You don't really need to take it. But some of the things that are really great items that are the first things that you put in your camping gear when you go out. Rob, we'll start with you.
Oh, righto. Yeah, righto.
You've already said jet oil. Yeah.
Yeah, jet boil goes straight. I'm not gonna say recovery gear and all that. We won't go down that path. But camping gear, jet boil, the fridge. Yeah. I don't think you can go camping in Australia these days without a fridge. I admire the people who still use Eskies, but fridges are so cheap these days.
If you're going for it, yeah, exactly right. But the trouble with the fridges are the lithium battery to power it isn't cheap, mate. No. But I still think if you're going camping for a weekend, there's still a place for a good Esky.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah. The actual Ranger has a 12-volt SIG socket in the tray, and I think most of them come out with it now as stock standard. And as long as you run the fridge while you're running the engine, you're fine, and you'll find that the fridge will stay cold overnight. And you can also adjust temps for day and night is another trick as well to save power. Fridge, jet boil. What else do I sort of throw in first? And just a cooker. I mean, let's be serious. That's all you need. Obviously, you got your swag or your bedding, and that's it. If you've got a clear weekend, you don't need the gazebo. If you've got unless it's going to rain, then you start throwing that sort of stuff in. But your immediate go-tos for me, fridge, jet boil, and a cooker. And that's it. I can't cook anyway, so...
And you know what? At the end of the day, if you just want to fry some snags and some onions up and have them on a bit of bread, which is, let's face it, that's a good camp feed, is the old snag on a bit of bread. What's wrong with a $20 butane stove and a cheap frying pan? Like, that's all you need. Those butane stoves work beautifully, except when it freezes cold. Except in wintertime down south, they freeze up. But up in Queensland, they're perfect.
That one here, I won't get it out. That's the OG, very first one I brought from Super Cheap Auto, $35, still goes strong. I've got one over here. Yep. I've got the Hyper Flame by Coleman, which was $300 or whatever. The thing whistles and carries on in the morning, and that thing there, quiet, easy, half the size. You don't need to go crazy. Like,
and one of those things there. If you can't afford a jet boil, because they're over $100, $150 or whatever, those little pop-up kettles, Rob, for a butane stove, just to boil water in the morning for a brew, those little pop-up kettles work perfectly on a butane stove.
Yeah.
Cheap as chips, mate. Get them for $10 from bloody Kings. Have got all the pop-up camping gear, mate. And it saves you on space as well, and it's light.
Yeah.
And for me, I guess the thing you don't need, everyone's different, but for me, I will never take one of those coffee machines camping. One of those ones where you got to froth the milk and all that carry on.
No, that's not for me. You'll never see me doing that either, mate. I didn't, even when I had the caravan, I was still doing instant coffees. I made a statement there that people don't take fridges because they probably can't afford a battery. Well, lithium is getting affordable now, and I'll give you an example. Yeah. You go into King's the other day, 120 amp hour King's lithium blue top battery, which apparently are fairly good. I've got one out in the shed and it's working perfectly. $3.99. Yep. Used at AGM not long ago with $3.99 to buy an AGM, and then you buy a $50 battery box to put it in. You can then power your bloody brass monkey fridge, and it's in striking distance of the average Joe. But if you go and buy an Energide battery, might be a different story. But the King's battery, Simon from Lockyer Hubs has done all the testing on that King's blue top lithium, and it come up the goods for him, and he put it through the ringer.
Yeah, there's a comment there from Trev Kelly saying you can't simmer on the Hyperflame. 2 weeks, mate. I've got a video coming out on that, how to fix the simmer on the Hyperflame, so stay tuned for that. The King's batteries, it's probably what I'm going to get. There's another cat out of the bag. I'm going to go the 200 King's lithium battery, and we're going to flog it, and we're going to see how we go. Because for the price point, you can't go wrong. I was tossing up between the Kick-Ass and the King's. I'm probably going to go to the King's.
Well, Kick-Ass is a bit dearer. Kick-Ass has got the Bluetooth capability for your phone. Kick-Ass is, if I had to get another one for the camper trip, I'd probably go a Kick-Ass one because of the Bluetooth capability. But if you want a lithium battery is going to do the job to run a bloody brass monkey fridge, I reckon have a crack at one of those King's batteries for $3.99. And at the end of the day, if you only get 2 years out of it, it's not like you've spent $1,200 on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly right.
Landy said he bought a 200 lithium today. What brand, Landy?
Oh, there you go. Graham Whitaker as well. Graham Whitaker's got Graham's got the 300 amp hour Kings.
Yeah, and
he's in the caravan.
There you go. Be interesting to see how they go long term. I've got the 120. Yeah. It's working fine at the moment in the iTech World battery box. I bought one just to see how it goes, Rob. And 12 months time, if it's still going strong, I'll tell everyone. Dave, some of your must-haves when you go out camping, mate.
Yeah, jet boil, 100%. I think we've covered that one up already. For me, I love my Arc Pack. So obviously it's just a glorified battery box. So they're about $650, $700, but I think I got it at half price.
Yeah.
So I probably paid under $400 for it. And I put in an iTech World 120X into it, lithium, and that is it's a beast of a little system, perfect. Yeah. It keeps my fridge going. We usually camp Friday to Sunday as a family, and we use it mainly for powering the fridge and lights and stuff around camp. I wouldn't say it gets under 70% without even bothering to charge it. So perfect for us. I do think there's a couple of things coming on the market, a bit of a game changer. Buck, I don't know if you can get up a browser and share it on the screen.
I can give it a go. What do you want me to look up, mate?
It's the new Dometic Safari Chef 30.
Ooh, this sounds exciting. What's this?
Yeah, it's really cool. It's like a little portable barbecue.
Okay, Dometic
Safari Chef 30.
Okay, I'll go to images. Let me I'll just save this to my desktop, mate. Hang on, save image.
I should give you a heads up, shouldn't I, on this one?
No, that's all right, mate. I'm coming back there now. So what I'm going to do now is present. Oh, no. Hang on. Present. Share my screen. Share screen.
Good one, Ty. I like that. Trying to sell shit, not buy it.
This is it.
Is that it, mate?
Yeah. So the new Dometic Safari Chef 30, it retail price is about $290. I made some notes, so I'll just look at it. It's got 4 interchangeable cook surfaces, so like a pot stand, so you can do any kind of pot on it. It's got a greens kind of grill, so you can do your like stir-fried veg and stuff like that. It's got a ceramic coated barbecue plate and a flat grill, and then also you can use it as an oven because it's got the lid on it. So
it's like a little Weber, isn't it?
Wow.
Yeah, it comes with a pizza stone that you can get for it for about another $35.
Fuller's on this website as we speak.
Well, yeah. I'm literally waiting for Steve to buy one, and Ty will definitely get this, right? 100%. So the great thing about this, right, is it can run from your big gas bottles. It can use the Coleman green gas bottles, and it can use the little portable, the small ones that you use for your jet boil.
Yeah,
so it covers all sorts of gas. I'm not seeing a setup that can do that.
I'd be curious to see how it goes on the jet boil one. That sounds interesting. Sure. Yeah.
Wow. Do they fold up those?
The legs fold up. It comes in a carry bag. I think this could be a little bit of a game changer if you want to slim down your gear.
Roz, can I spend $300, please? What? I tell you now. Don't be surprised to see Buckaroony getting one of them. Where are they available from, mate? Dometic.
Even BCF have got them on their website. But
is that right?
I did notice that the Dometic website have got 10% off your first order at the moment. So if anyone's keen of ordering it from them.
Anyway, but hey.
Yeah, I think that looks really cool. And so I'm
glad you pointed that out. What's it called? The Dometic Chef 30.
Yeah. Safari Chef 30. So once Steve's got one and done a review, I'm definitely going to buy
one. Oh wow, that does look, and the fact that it can run off a big gas bottle, your little ones that the jet boil uses, and also those Coleman ones that screw into the Coleman thing. Yeah. So Roz says no. That looks really good. Yeah. What we might do one night is have another live feed, guys. And if anyone out there has got some really good, like I didn't know about this item, Dave. If anyone's got some really good camping gear that's coming on the market that most people may not have heard of, what I'll do is I'll Google it, bring it up, and people can start. But it's probably dangerous because everyone will go out spending money that they don't need to spend. So, that's good, mate. That's absolutely fantastic, mate.
And probably just the other thing I was going to mention, crash pad. I think the quality of crash pad gear is excellent.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And I've just noticed this week that they have launched their first rooftop tent, hard shell aluminium rooftop tent.
Have they really?
Right.
Yeah, wow. It's it retails at around 3,600 and it's a 1.4 wide, so a bit wider.
Yeah.
I think it's got the stats say it's 280 GSM canvas, 70mm mattress, comes with condensation mat, stainless steel fixings, 304 stainless, and the stainless the outside shell is fully gel coated as well to help prevent leaks and things like that. So aluminium hardtop but fully coated. It looks the business, and I think when you look at the alternatives out there, like the Wildlands that Drifter sell, this is the first tent that is kind of in that price point as a competition. I think it looks like a really good goer for a lot of the young guys out there, and people looking to get into their first rooftop tent. It looks like a winner.
Those Wildlands, when I first Snorky come up here and I had a look at his, it had polystyrofoam under the thing, and I thought, my God,
and look, they're not canvas as well, right? They're like a ripstop poly cotton.
Yeah,
they're not real canvas, and they've got no hard floor in them, so you have to buy a floor upgrade. You have to buy a mattress upgrade because the Wildlands one is terrible.
Yeah,
I mean,
Crash Pad. I didn't know that. I knew they did good bags. I do know Crash Pad do good bags. It's a disease. I think Marky Lavelle speaking, buying camping gear's a disease. It is, and cooking shit. It is a disease. And
it's an addiction, but anyway, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's some good gear out there, but when I first started off with the kids, we just had little 2-man or a little 4-man tent. One of the bloody Kmart 4-man tent. It did the job, and a couple of camp chairs and a bloody frying pan, and we used to cook on a fire and just cook sausages and onion on bread for the kids, and that's all you needed when you're out camping. Just the main thing is you're out there, you're enjoying yourself, you sit around a fire, around the bush TV, and you have a good time. It doesn't matter how you do it, whether you do it in a bloody $150,000 zone RV caravan, or if you do it in a bloody out of the back of your car. Who cares? As long as you're out there having a go. And no one should ever, and I've never done it, you go on Fraser Island, for example, and you go, oh, look how he's camping. How basic's that? I just think, good on you, mate. You're bloody out here camping and you're doing it real easy and real basic, and good on you. And anyone who frowns on how anyone else camps, like everyone's got their own way that they want to do things. We all want to be, as you get older, you want to be a little bit more comfortable too. Let me tell you.
That's right. That's right. And everyone's in a different part of their camping journey. Some people it's their first time. Some people have been around for 20 years. People who come along, and I've stopped camping with people like this. People like you're talking about, Buck. You're driving down the beach, or you're driving out bush or whatever. You see someone's camp, you go, as if you'd camp in a whatever. So I don't want to know you, mate. Like, I don't want to be around someone who's carrying on like a pork chop and all negative, mate. Yeah. They're having a crack, good on them, They're probably half decent people, and I'd probably go say g'day to them. You know what I mean? Like, it's not what it's about. It's not a competition. People think it's a competition.
Not exactly right, Rob. Yeah. Newy Joe saying, Buck, would the kids do that today? Well, I'll give you a classic example. Bloody young Saxon, Dave's taken Saxon Ed. He's 4 years old, and he loves it. He loves collecting firewood and starting a fire and all that. Don't blame the kids. It's up to the parents. Get off your ass. If you've got young kids, get them out camping and introduce them. Get them out of there. Get them off the iPads and away from TVs. Get them out around. Collect a bit of firewood. Show them how to start a fire. Show them how to, even if they're young kids. Like, I'm sure Saxon's old enough now, mate, where he can help you chop the sausages and put the sausages in the frying pan and start teaching your kids from a young age how to bloody look after themselves, how to cook a feed, how to make a cup of 4 years.
At 3 years old, Andy bought him his first little Opinel children's knife. It's not pointed, it's got a rounded end. Yeah. It's meant for kids. It's meant so they learn. It's sharp enough to cut your finger if you're not careful. Yeah, but that's how you learn, right? And it's not going to take his finger off, but and that's the way we want to bring him up, not with a controller in his hand, And
we take him out and we teach him snake safety, and we teach him about a bit of the dangers of when you're outside, like collecting firewood. I'm sure you don't let Saxon just run up into a pile of thing.
No,
you tell him, watch out for snakes, mate. Don't ever lift up a bit of iron or lift up a log without checking it first, or letting Dad check it for you. And
we drag it out. Yeah.
Teach them all that stuff. The only way to learn is to get out and bloody do it.
100%.
Yeah. Rob,
the girl I was seeing, I was just going to say, the last person I was dating, she had 3 kids, and we all went out camping, and the kids loved it. They were 4, 7, and 9 or something at the time. And, getting them out around a campfire, showing them how not to get too close, all the rest of it. Kids love it. And some people get upset when other kids go camping near them and all that. But you got to realise we were all kids once too, don't forget. So, teaching them the skills, the basic skills, it creates common sense in people. And if you don't have that, you got no chance. So,
Rob told me that she broke the relationship off everyone when the 4-year-old brought an Eastern Brown back to the campfire and said, "Look what I found, Rob."
That's about right.
She said, "That's it. I'm out of here. You're not taking my kids camping ever again." But that's what I'm talking about. The only way for kids to learn is for the parents to take them out and teach them. And Dave, you're a classic example getting young Saxon out and teaching him all that about the Aussie bush. And I'm sure as he gets older, mate, you'll teach him more stuff. And, as he gets more confident on doing stuff and helping you set the tent up and all that type of stuff and start the fire, they'll remember that for the rest of their lives, mate.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. All right, guys, listen, we've been on for 2 hours 39. Mr. P's up there throwing shit down. He is going off apparently. And but anyway, it's been good to have you both on. I'm sure we could sit here for another 2 hours and talk about camping. It's a subject that everyone loves. What I do want to do is one night is get on and maybe people like what you did tonight, Dave, and tell us about that bloody Dometic Chef 30, and I can Google it and bring it up and we can have a chat about it and see what it does and all that type of stuff. Well, that'd be a good live feed, actually, showing people all the new camping gear out there. Steve W. up in the UK saying, get off. He's got to take his Labrador for a walk. Hey, Steve, I heard a good joke the other day about a Labrador. I said, what do you call a dog that can do magic tricks? A Labracadabrador. They go abracadabra. That's a Labracadabra.
I need to pee.
I love that. That's a good dad joke. Right? That's a great dad joke. A dog that can do magic tricks. A Labracadabrador. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to piss off, guys. Thanks for being on. Dave, good to see you, mate. Thanks for everything. Guys. Rob the Wanderer, when are you on next, mate?
I'll probably do a sneaky live in a couple of days. Stay tuned.
Usually Monday night. Yeah. Why do you pick Monday nights? Is that your night, generally a night that you've got off, mate?
I don't know, mate. It just seems to be how it goes. What's that? Kmart's closed.
No, I said the gay bar closes on a Monday.
The gay bar's
the Blue Oyster Bar. Now, apparently that's the place to be, the Blue Oyster Bar in bloody Browns Plains. Hey, Dave, make sure you bloody give me the details of his what's it called, paracord things, mate, because I reckon they'll go off. I reckon a lot of people out there would love to get them. Few of them. Mike Blakely, thanks for tuning in from over in the States, mate. Glad you got your chopping board. Send me a bloody photo, will you? I want to put it up on my Facebook page. Send me a photo of the Rafa chopping board getting eaten to pieces by a grizzly bear or something, mate. That'd be good on the Facebook page. I reckon that'd be good. Someone said, well done, gents. Good night. Deanie O'Connor.
Yeah, cheers.
Down in Harvey Bay. It moves every time I just think. Thanks, Dean. Hope you're well, mate. To Jack Turtle, hope you're all going well, mate. Absolutely fantastic. Next Saturday's live feed, guys, is with Freddie Boots, Danny Bowes, and we're going to talk about Danny lost his wife to motor neurone disease, guys. We're going to talk about a bit of motor neurone disease awareness and about that terrible bloody disease that just took Carl Webb, who was a footballer. And then Danny's just come back off a lap as well, and we're going to talk about some of Danny's favourite spots in Australia.
Really looking forward to that.
Yeah. Danny
that's going to be a great one.
Going to be a good chat, and I'll bring up Google Maps. And when Danny mentions a place, we might be able to bring it up on Google Maps and go in and have a closer look at it as well. A bit like Southwest Rocks and all that type of stuff. Anyway, thanks again, fellas. Thanks so much for being on tonight. It's been a long one. I know we could jibber jabber for another 2 hours. Everyone will be throwing shit at their computers if we do that. Thanks for coming on, everyone. We had about 180 something on there at one stage. When I
that's brilliant.
Mike,
thanks for giving up your Saturday nights.
Andy Riches up there in the UK. Dave, you might want to say good day to your pommy mates up there. Steve W. and Andy Riches.
Good on you, mate.
And thanks. It was good to hear your stories tonight too, fellas. Bloody everyone's got a story.
Mate. Awesome. Thanks for the invite.
It's good. Everyone's heard my stories. Everyone knows where I've been and what I've done. And that's what I want to do now is get more guests on out of the chat room community and hear your stories as well, because I'm sure some of you out there have got some bloody cracking stories to tell everyone. Everyone's got a story. You just got to want to listen in, and that's what it's all about. All right, good night, everyone.
Get on over to the Wanderer Oz. Give him a subscribe so he can get to 3,000 before Buck does.
No, good on you, Rob. You'll get there. But you're only a beat away from that, mate. I think 3,000, aren't you?
I think we're neck and neck, mate. I think it's a race to the 3,000, Buck.
Yeah. Dave, what about you? Saxon Overland, mate. Tell us a bit about you. You've got a YouTube channel and
I think we'll make a comeback. I think I'm going to start doing some stuff on just reviewing what's on YouTube, really. You know, like a catch up of the week across all the channels. If I think someone's talking bullshit, I'm going to say it. If I think someone's got a great idea, I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it for what it is and see how we go.
Mate, I'd go back and do what you did. If anyone's seen it, go on to you were called .038 back then. It's now Preston Overland. You were one of the first blokes who interviewed me, and it was a great interview, mate. And you were very good at it too. So I stick to it and do your camping reviews. You've got an amazing camp set up. I know work gets in the way, mate. We're all well, not me. I'm not busy, but you guys that still work, you've got to bloody juggle it with work, and it is hard to try and make YouTube work. But stick at it, mate. Make a comeback. Thanks, and man. Send us that gear, paracord things, mate. And me and Rob will promote them on our things, because I reckon we'll get Andy quite busy making all that.
Awesome.
100%.
Because you're going to be getting.
I'd love to put my hand. I'd love to put my hand up too for your next interview too, mate. Sign me up. I was watching them the other day, and you know what? They're good, mate. He's got names like Tyler. What's his name?
Well, Ty Fenwick. There's another guy that's got stories coming out. Ty Fenwick will do an interview with you, mate. Get back into him. Just because the interview people doesn't mean you can't too. You started it all off, mate. You're very good at it. So stick at it. As I said, it's all about work. I know you're a busy man at work. So, all right, fellas.
But most of all, everyone in the chat, thanks for hanging out. 180 or so. Bloody unreal. Thanks, Buck, for your time, mate. It's been good.
That's all right. And, thanks for tuning in. We'll
see you another hard solo, lads.
Get into it and bloody check in next Saturday night with Danny Bowes. That's going to be an absolute, really good one. And going to have a chat about all of Danny's favourite places on his lap around Australia, guys. Good night, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. See you later. Thanks.